let me, Tory Lanez press conference. I'm going to do a real quick recap to get up to speed and then show you guys what's going on. So this was the press conference that happened pretty much about a week ago where Tory Lanez, his team, his father, Unite the People, and also a journalist that worked supposedly in some capacity for, I believe, Page 6 or another outlet, they claim that they had some new evidence that was exculpatory. What does that mean? It means that it proves that this person couldn't have been the person that did the crime, right? Now, obviously, that would be big because Tory's now incarcerated for 10 years for firing a weapon that resulted in the damage or the injury of Miss Megan Pete's leg, okay? Now, this is what the press conference said.
I just stood here in this Los Angeles County and witnessed the worst
Okay, that's not the press conference. The press conference is, hold on.
He was being rushed to a facility.
So this was the end of the press conference that we're talking about his injuries. If you don't know, Tory Lanez just got stabbed 14 times in prison.
Nearby in a vehicle in which he said, and I quote, "Dad, I thought it was my last. And having made my peace with God, I said, okay, God, is this how it's supposed to end for me?" And God said no. God told him, "Do not give up," in the car, upon which he turned to the attending officers and he said, "You must get me to wherever is the closest place that I can get to. I'm bleeding out here." My boat, he didn't even know his lungs had collapsed. All he knows is that he couldn't breathe. He could hardly speak. Upon which the officer turned around and looked at him and said, "Nah, we got to take him. He has to be airlifted."
Ruger Red, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships.
To God be the glory. He was airlifted. One of the officers turned to me yesterday and he said, "You would be so proud of your boy. He has been in here and he has been praying." I got there to the hospital the first day, and typical Daystar, he was entertaining those officers. They were laughing. They were just, and he said, "Dad, it only hurts to laugh." But something broke my heart yesterday when towards the end of our visit, he said, "Dad, why is it that my life has to go through so many trials? Why? Why do I have to experience this?"
Okay.
Name as many.
I'm trying to get.
He was being rushed. I just stood here.
Okay, so let me play a little bit of the press conference about the exculpatory evidence that supposedly is
All right, welcome back in here to Lion.
Here we go. Okay.
Or if I did, is that he gets killed in prison for something he did not do.
Okay. So,
Interview. Did not shoot him, not speak and leave a man in prison for something he did not do. Mr. James informed Unite the People that he was witness to the conversation Miss Harris had.
Now, Mr. James is supposedly the bodyguard of Kelsey Nicole, or he worked as the bodyguard during that trial. So they're actually, so he's not her current bodyguard, but he worked as a bodyguard for her during the trial. And apparently during the trial, while she was going back and forth to court with her husband and other people in the vehicle, she was worried that maybe she would perjure herself or she would get in trouble by supposedly saying a story that wasn't factual. She supposedly said, "Well, I did the shooting. How do I not perjure myself, but also not get myself in trouble?" And that was supposedly overheard by the bodyguard, and the bodyguard is only coming forth now.
Where she stated she had the gun, she fired it 3 times. Mr. Peterson grabbed her arm and knocked it down, and the gun fired 2 more times. In essence, Mr. Peterson never shot anybody, never even touched that gun, never fired the gun. This statement aligns with the statement of the only non-party witness to the case, Mr. Sean Kelly, who at trial testified he saw 2 women fighting, 2 men break up the fight, 1 man grabbed the other one's arm, Gunshots came from the passenger side. The passenger side is where Miss Harris was sitting. This further iterates that Mr. Peterson did not shoot Miss Pete, did not shoot at Miss Pete, or did not assault Miss Pete. It's just another irregularity in a list of irregularities in this case.
Now, I've said before, and I want to go back on something I've said that is incorrect, and I want to be very clear about, at times I am wrong, and if I am wrong, I'll try to come back and give you the right information. For example, I did say that Kelsey Nicole has immunity, and that's why she took the stand against Tory. But even in her taking a stand, she made sure to not say certain things that she could be held on perjury charges later, because immunity grants you immunity from prosecution, at least for her, I had previously said, would grant her immune from prosecution in that case. But by the way, that was incorrect. So she had a form of immunity called, not full immunity, there's different types. You have full immunity, which means you can never be charged no matter what. You could even a minute later. As long as you didn't perjure yourself, you could always be charged with perjury. But there is something called use immunity. Use immunity means that the testimony can never be used against you. So if you give a argument in or a situation or a testimony that might be incriminating, those same words cannot be used to then prosecute you later. That's called use immunity. I was, I was actually upset at myself for getting that wrong. Kelsey Nicole does not have full immunity. She only had use immunity, which means whatever she said on that stand can never be used to prosecute her. But is she at risk of prosecution later on for shooting Tory Lanez? Yes, that is absolutely possible. Now, this is going to be interesting. I've reached out to Kelsey Nicole. She leaves me on red constantly. She opens a message, leaves me on red. Not that she needs to respond to me, but I've always thought a few different theories when it comes to Kelsey and Tory. Either they're in cahoots, or Kelsey realized she got away, and this is a colloquial term, with murder. Like, she knows she did it and somebody else is going down for it, but she don't want to speak up, which nobody would want to speak up and be like, no, take me instead, right? It's hard to figure out what the current situation is, but it appears now Tory's people are pointing the finger squarely at Kelsey. Squarely at Kelsey. Here's the problem. Kelsey doesn't say she did it. And the victim, Meg, doesn't say she did it. And the other person, Jaquan, he never made a definitive statement on who did it. So there was two fingers pointing at Tory, even though Kelsey tried to reverse what she was saying. But the prosecutors basically made it so tough for her, it kind of looked like she's still pointing at Tory. Tory didn't take the stand. And the other person in the car, he never showed up. Or he showed up the last day but never testified. So now they're coming with supposed there's new evidence. And the new evidence, and we're going to get into what the rep is saying. There's a rep from Florida who says there's new Ring camera footage. And they finally, what they're talking about in this Bodyguard for Kelsey, saying he overheard Kelsey in the car admit that she did it. Those things are now being entered into law or into the docket or the appellate docket. Here we go.
For example, there were 3 potential suspects in the car that night, and yet the only DNA sample was taken of Mr. Peterson.
Awkward Angel says, you need to go back to school and become a lawyer. I'm going to be honest with you. So there's 2 things I really want to do. Let me tell you, if you're not growing, you're dying. You're never too old to do things. You're never too old to learn more skills. I do want to. I just seen Kim K. Kim K just graduated. She graduated law school recently. Took her 6 years. She went there part-time. If Kim K could go to law school, I do want to go to law school. Part-time online or something like that. If she could do it, I think I could do it 100%. She graduated from her 4-year law study program in May 21st, which appeared to be a backyard ceremony. In addition to her children, they showed up for support. She, again, I don't know if she passed the bar, but she did graduate law school. So one thing is graduating law school. Another thing is actually passing the bar that you could be referred to or have what they call a JD. So I do want to do that over the next couple of years because I'm going to be dealing with
Sean Diddy
I'm
Combs.
going to be dealing with trials no matter what. So I kind of do want to do that. Second thing is some of the stuff that I do, like the DIY stuff or whatever, is probably try to have some type of expertise or knowledge, or I don't know if certificate, maybe like in being an architect. So because I'm really interested in that type of stuff now too. Anyway, all right. So let's get back to the point I'm making, right? So let me let him finish talking about this evidence. Then we're gonna go to what the rep said, and then we're gonna go to what Meg and her team, because Meg and her team is actually hitting back. By the way, Chef, thank you for the 2. Says shout out to you and how you handled yesterday, gang. Yeah, it's all good, man. You know, I've been streaming for a long time, and let me tell you this: sometimes you have to realize You ever watch American Gangster and be like, your success took a shot at you? How are you going to handle it? We don't get swatted if we haven't been growing in audience and growing in people who have eyeballs on the stream. It's okay, you know. We'll get through it. And thank you guys. You guys are always supportive. All right, so let me let him talk, and then we're going to get to the rep. Then we get to Meg's team counteracting it. And then we're going to get to the actual new evidence. Here we go.
Even though unknown DNA was found on the gun. Why wasn't Miss Harris's DNA taken? Or was it taken and the information simply never given to the defense? Why wasn't the driver of the car, Mr. J?
Now, if that was done, if they took Kelsey's Harris, or Kelsey Nicole, whatever you want to call her, if they took her DNA and didn't give it to the defense, that's called a Brady violation. That's huge. By the way, that happened in the case with the Rust shooting. Remember, somebody died from a live gun being on the set of Rust, and they charged, I forgot what the guy's name is. They dismissed the entire case based on there was evidence that the prosecutor had that they didn't turn over. And basically, because they didn't turn it over to the defense, the judge was so disgusted, he dismissed it with prejudice, which means they can't file it again. So, you know, that would be a scandal and a corruption thing if they never turned it over to Tory, because this has been a big deal, and the case is also over, right?
Jaquan Smith's DNA taken? Or was it taken, and again, simply not given to the defense? We don't know. It should have been taken. It is Unite the People's understanding, regular LAPD practice at a crime scene like that. Anybody who's there, the DNA is taken. Another irregularity. Why, at Miss Harris's police interview, was a non-lawyer, non-family member record company executive allowed to participate? Highly irregular situation. Normally, we see...
That is very important. Let's go back. Let me let you hear it.
Non-lawyer, non-family member record company executive allowed to participate.
So Desiree Perez, who works for Rock Nation, who Rock Nation manages Meg The Stallion, supposedly she was allowed to kind of like almost oversee in a sense, because she was in communication with the DA. They made special, accommodations for her. And, some might argue, oh, well, Meg, who was the victim, didn't want to be there the entire time, but her representative, or the person who was going to be, the person who was standing in place of her, was Desiree Perez. Maybe you want to think that, or people might be like, why is a record executive kind of like just hovering over this case? Again, these things become a little suspicious in time, right?
Highly irregular situation. Normally, we see cases, strangers are not allowed in these things, but it was in this case.
For example, like, you ever get pulled over, or say someone's getting arrested, usually they say, hey, we can't give information to anyone but a family member. And even then, they'd be like, to a certain extent. Desiree Perez isn't a family member of Meg The Stallion. She isn't a lawyer of Meg The Stallion. She's a coworker of Meg The Stallion, or you might call an employer of Meg The Stallion, whatever you want to see it as. No matter what, why is she allowed and so privy to like the details of this case? That's interesting, right?
All of these things point to the highly irregular nature of his trial and his conviction. It is our contention that he was wrongly convicted. And while We at first were willing to let the process play out. It is our contention now that if he is not pardoned or released promptly, he may never come out. And that would be the ultimate injustice, is that he gets killed in prison for something he did not do. At this time.
Okay. Now, Tory has been, he's been treated, supposedly he got treated in a day for the 14 stab wounds and whatever. And they were going to bring him back to the prison because they felt like he could recover still in jail, probably to a medical ward of whatever jail till he's a little bit better. But apparently he's been moved to another jail. Let's go to that.
Thank you very much, Chris. Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Well, listen, this is the job, is to make sure that there is fairness under law in this situation. And with your son,
yes,
there's now a question mark. And you're not a lawyer. It's not why I'm talking to you. My understanding is it's gotten bad enough for him on the inside after this stabbing that it is a miracle that he survived, that now he's being moved as we speak. Is that true, sir? And what does that mean to you?
Yes, that is correct. It's one of the things we've been concerned about, but he's being moved because it's a part of the prison's protocol. That when a situation like this happens, I think they believe it's better for him to be in another facility, and so he is being moved as we speak. One of the things, of course, we're concerned about is because my son is a high-profile person, and when things like this happen, there's always some kind of weird news going out trying to spin it to be something else. Maybe he went crazy in the prison and they moved him. There's a lot of stuff that happens, but the truth being that he is being moved right now as we speak, and we have concerns because, number one, he has just been discharged not many days ago from the hospital.
That's a oh, the video is way louder than my mic. Okay, thank you for that. I'll just turn this down. Low key, I'll turn this down.
Mm-hmm. And he was discharged with 14 stab wounds. An incident that collapsed his lungs that, again, thankfully, he is recovering. He's doing well.
So he's been moved to a new prison, so now we know that.
But now he has to take a 3-hour ride, and he is the victim in this situation. Those are the things that really concern me. He is the victim. He never provoked this incident in prison. And anybody that knows him, in fact, I've met many people going there to visit him, my wife and I, that will tell you that he is someone who is liked. He's not someone who's a troublemaker. I was with the COs, the correctional officers, in the hospital where he was taken after this incident, and the COs spoke to me. They said when they heard on the intercom that they had to transport somebody to the hospital, it was him. The guy looked at me and said, why him, of all people? Because he doesn't do anything like that, to warrant these kinds of things.
Well, listen, Mr. Peterson, we're going to stay on it. Not out of any deference to your son. I'm new to this story, but there's something about it that doesn't smell right. And we're going to stay on it until we figure out what this is really about and that justice is served here. And I hope he is safe, no matter which way it comes out. And we're a call away if we can help you with any concerns you have, okay?
Absolutely. I appreciate that.
All right. God bless. Stay well, and we'll be in touch. Okay. Thank you for watching. Subscribe below.
All right. So now we have that. Before we get to the new evidence, Meg The Stallion's team actually responded. Now, I did say this before, and I said Tory's plight for freedom, I don't think it necessarily means an attack on Meg The Stallion. Okay? Now, some people feel like it does. Now, I'm only talking about what he's doing. I don't see Tory aiming at Meg or his team aiming at Meg. Now, are fans gonna go say, "You lying ass horse, you lying motherfucker"? Yes, they're gonna say that because it's a very adversarial situation. But I don't see Tory and how he's going about trying to get freedom. He's trying to get freedom on certain things that are technicalities, certain things that are, obviously, hey, we need a new trial. Certain things are, hey, listen, I'm wrongly accused. None of them is saying Meg, okay? And we gotta be careful of that because I understand Meg is responding to like fans maybe bullying and harassing her, but it's not Tory sending them. Tory's just trying to fight for his freedom. And, you know, I think it would be unreasonable to say, oh, no, just take your jail time happily that no one bothers Meg. No, like, who would want to be in jail, right? So let me go to what Meg's team put out yesterday. And that was them kind of responding to all of the people who, hold on. All of the people who were saying, yo, it looks like Tory was convicted without any evidence. Let me see if I can find that. It was definitely on the Shade Room. Let me try to find it. Could I find it? No. Where is it? Tell me if I'm scrolling past it. I definitely saw it on the Shade Room yesterday. Shout out to all my people on the Academy, King Akademiks, of course, R Block and K Block in the building. By the way, Chris Brown is out. We should talk about that in a little bit, right? Where is it? Am I tripping? There was a post where Meg The Stallion kind of answers to everything. Where is it? Can I not find it? Let me scroll slowly. If y'all see it, tell me. Should say something about Meg. Where is it? No? I know, some people are like, you should have had it already bookmarked. I thought it'd be easier to find. I didn't know these guys posted that much shit. Wait a minute. Can I find it? No. Or maybe not. Okay, here we go. Meg The Stallion's legal team releases evidence regarding Tory Lanez conviction and refutes attacks on facts surrounding the shooting. Okay? By the way, I think it's fair game that if they want to just do this, I think it's unfair when they think that Tory Lanez going for freedom is him attacking her. If they want to just come on and be like, just to let you know, these are the facts around the conviction. Cool, whatever. If they're like, Tory's attacking us by trying to get out of jail, I think that's unfair. Because everybody would, even if somebody kills someone on camera, they would still try to get out of jail. You know what I mean? Okay. It says, number one, Daystar Peterson admitted to shooting Meg and Pete. It says Peterson admitted to shooting Meg and Pete on July 12th, 2020, just hours after violently shooting Meg and Pete. Daystar called Kelsey Harris from jail and admitted to shooting Pete. The following text is from the recorded jail call. I know Meg will never, ever gonna talk to me again. But I just want to let you know, bro, I was just so fucking drunk. I didn't even know what the fuck was going on. Like, bro, dead ass. I'd never do some shit like that. I was just so fucking drunk. Nigga, I just don't even understand what the fuck was going on, bro. Regardless, that's not gonna make anything right. That's not gonna make my actions right. We're gonna play the actual associated audio from that call. But I do want to say this. And again, I'm trying to be as even and as, honest, but also fair as possible. I do think that call, Tory Lanez jail call Kelsey, I do think that call is a bad look for Tory. But we also have to keep in mind that just like you would say, well, getting on the phone when you just got arrested saying, man, I fucked up. Damn, I was so fucking drunk. Damn, she probably ain't gonna talk to me again. That's a bad look for Tory. He didn't say I shot her. He never said that. However, you also got to look on the opposite side. Why would the best friend of Meg The Stallion get on the phone with the guy who just shot Meg The Stallion and supposedly was beating her up too? Because that's what the prosecutors claimed, that Tory beat both of the women up and shot Meg. So why would Kelsey get on the phone with the shooter of her best friend rather than be there for her best friend? I'll play this call that you guys can listen. Here we go. Here we go. This is the start of the call.
At LAPD jail. This call is subject to recording and monitoring.
Here's the two
Press
shots.
1 to accept the call. To deny this call, thank you for using Telmate.
Hello?
Hey.
Y'all got out safe and everything?
Huh?
Y'all got out and everything, y'all good?
Megan's still in the hospital. I'm outside the hospital.
What hospital y'all at?
About what?
You said what?
You're listening. Now, granted, she says she's at the hospital, which, okay, it sounds like you're there to support Meg, but she's outside the hospital and she's on the phone with Tory. But Tory shot Meg in the prosecutor and also Meg's story. Listening to Street TV.
I said Megan's in the hospital still. I'm outside the hospital waiting.
What hospital are you at?
I don't know. Let me see.
Also, here's the thing. Because there's so many questions. If you got shot by Tory, why do you get back in a car with Tory? These are legit questions. Somebody just shoots you. Do you get back in a car with them? Okay. You get back in a car with a person who shot you. Let's say you were in fear of your life because you didn't want him to kill you. The police come. Why do you then say, I want to protect a black man? These are things that obviously there's so much alcohol involved that night. Like, it's really hard to really make all these actions make sense. But some of these things don't make sense. So you shoot her best friend. She goes to the hospital to support her best friend, but she's on the phone with you. Why would she be on the phone with you if you shot her best friend? Okay. Meg says, he shot me. But Meg then admits, I got back in the car with the guy who shot me. Okay, let's just make it up that, okay. Tory was threatening, if you don't get back in the car, I'm going to kill you. Cool, the cops come. Everybody get out of the car. Interview people one by one. They ask you, what happened? You could just literally say, he shot me and he forced me to get back in the car with him. You don't say that. You literally tell them that you were cut by glass or whatever the fuck. You lied to the police. You didn't tell them you got shot by Tory. When we trying to figure out why not tell in the moment when the police come, you say, I was worried about a black man being killed. So it's, I don't know.
Cedar, something like that, Cedar.
Cedar Sinai.
Sure.
I know she probably never ever gonna talk to me ever again, but bruh, I just want you to know, bruh. Nigga, I was just so fucking drunk, nigga. I didn't even know what the fuck was going on, bro. That ass. I didn't even know what the fuck was going on, bro. Like, that ass, nigga. I'd never do some shit like that, bro. Just a nigga.
By the way, I ain't gonna lie to you. I've never heard a jail call sound this clear. Usually when someone's in jail, you hear people in the background. It sounds like they're having the call like in like a fucking cafeteria or there's other people on the phone or whatever. Tory sounds like he's laid up in bed. Like, this is the clearest jail call I've ever heard.
What the fuck was going on, bro? That ass.
Tory got his sexy voice on. Like, he got his, like, yo, I just woke up, but you know what I mean? What's up, baby? Where you at right now? Like, yo, I'm about to send you the lift right now. You know what I mean? Come through. Just hit the door, man. Just tell him to send you up to room 1504. Like,
I didn't even know what the fuck was going on, bro. Like, that ass, nigga. I'd never do some shit like that, bro. Just a nigga, I was so fucking drunk, nigga. I just didn't even understand what the fuck was going on, bro. Like, so whatever.
Yeah.
Bro. But, you know, regardless, that's not gonna make anything right, and that's not gonna make my actions right, bro. But I'm just deeply sorry, bro. I never even moved like that, bro. Like, never moved like that at all, bro. Like, for real, dog.
I know. There's a lot that happens, but
a whole lot, bro. Like, a whole lot, bro. I feel crazy, bro. But in this day, like, what happened already, bro. I can't take it back, bro. I'm just telling y'all, I'm sorry, bro. Like,
you're listening to Street TV.
I think I was just too drunk, bro.
Now, here's the thing. So Tory is saying whatever happened. Now, here's the thing. There's two ways to look at this, and it depends on what story you want to believe. If you want to believe that Tory shot him, it feels like this is an admission. If you want to believe that, hey, Tory didn't shoot him, but Tory's the reason why this happened, in the sense of, remember, Tory's in the pool trying to fuck Kylie Jenner. Meg is like, nigga, did you show up here because of me and now you trying to fuck another bitch? Like, you trying to embarrass me. You know how women get. Bitch, you trying to embarrass me? Oh, I'm going to embarrass you. She started turning up on Tory. It gets a little bit whatever. Kylie's like, whoa, get both of these Negroes out of here. Kelsey was like in the corner already thrown up. Kelsey recovers. She leaves with Kelsey. They leave Tory at the party. They're like, wait, hold on. We just left this motherfucker at the party to fuck the chick that I didn't want him to fuck. Oh, no, let's go back and get him. They go back and get Tory. Tory's like arguing with Meg. Kelsey's now kind of sobering up a little bit, or she's a little bit awake. Tory drops the bombshell. Yo, you know I've been fucking. Yo, Kelsey, did Meg tell you that me and her have been fucking behind your back? Boom. It's arguments. Now arguments starting. Kelsey's looking at Meg like, yo, Meg, yo, what the fuck? Like, yo, we're friends. Like, yo, this is like the third nigga you done. You know what I mean? They start getting into it. Tory and Meg start getting into it. Meg is dissing Tory. Tory is dissing Meg. It's pandemonium in the car. Basically, Tory and him trying to fuck Kylie and him then telling these women, I'm fucking both of y'all, starts off this entire domino effect of arguments and fights that eventually leads to a shooting. There is a version of this, if you believe that Tory's innocent, that you would say, him apologizing is not apologizing for shooting. He's apologizing for basically setting this shit up where everybody's beefing. His actions is the reason why Meg turned up on him at the party, because he's trying to fuck Kylie. He gets to the car. He basically then drops a bomb in the car. I'm fucking you both. Yo, why are you acting like that? We've been fucking behind her back, and you know, me and her was fucking first. You know?
You know what I'm saying? When I got to the house, Shorty, like, all top niggas, he gave me like 5 shots, like off the door, like, you feel me? So I was out of there.
He's talking about the party. I get to the party, I get 5 shots. Tory's about 123 pounds. 5'2". No, I'm playing. But shit, 5 shots. Shit, I just took 2.
Like, all top niggas, he gave me like 5 shots, like off the door, like, you feel me? So
now, I see some people, shout out to everybody on the Academy channel. This is what the important thing is, though, right? So if we're going to argue this case, and this is why, there's some important errors that was done on Tory's behalf. Also, there was some other important errors done in the case. Some things should have been excluded, whatever. That's the essential argument. And this is why there's an argument that Tory got railroaded. Because the prosecutor, who Desiree Perez, is on her head. There was 2 dudes. Not 2 dudes, a woman and a man. The prosecutor's on their head top. Like, yo, you got to get this conviction. And it turns into a railroading. So that's a legitimate argument that if me and you are arguing the different points, say I'm arguing for Tory, you're arguing against, I'm going to argue that this call isn't, the smoking gun. It's not a confession. You're going to argue that it is. I'm going to say, yo, I've just painted the picture. Here's the thing, too. The problem with what happened in the Tory case is that I felt like the media, even me, I knew about the story much more than it was explained in court. For example, I know that, and we know, Tory was trying to have sex with Kylie Jenner. Kylie Jenner didn't show up as a witness. Kylie Jenner wouldn't want to be in that case. She has a baby father who is Travis Scott. But if she did show up, it would give a little bit more context to say, all of this issue started when Tory was super flirting with Kylie. Supposedly, Kylie tells Tory, hey, I want to do one of those things, Tory, quarantine radios. Tory's like, oh, we could do it now. Kylie goes live or whatever. They're in the pool. She finds it humorous that he does quarantine radio. She likes it. Tory thinks that's his into fuck, right? They're kind of like, you know what I mean? Tory's kind of doing his thing. He kind of feeling himself in a pool. Come and see me. All of that shit, right? Meg over there is like, this little nigga feeling himself, ain't he? She come over there, come on, hotties, shot o'clock. She trying to get Tory out of the picture. Tory's just keeping it chill. He back up in the water doing his thing. But he know, I done fuck Meg like 1,000,000 times. I want that pussy next, because if I fuck Travis Scott, bitch, that nigga is finito out here. Cool. Meg start realizing that's going on. She starts checking Tory. Yo, why you acting like that? You acting extra. You don't never act like this. Anytime that happens, and now Meg is loud, turns into a shit show. Kylie asking to leave. That was never really presented in court. Like, we know this colloquially. I've heard just from people that have supposedly been there, or were actually there, or party to this, that's exactly what happened. They never painted that properly. They did bring the stylist in, the stylist in that tried to do a good job of saying they saw a couple bags and maybe the gun might have been not Tory's, but might have been Meg's or Kelsey's. But we never got this understanding of the story being, yo, the issues that night, yes, everybody is drunk. Also, here's the thing that was really ignored. That's why there's a possibility that you could take the angle of he got railroaded. The only sober person, you hear him on the jail call say, bro, I was so drunk. The only sober person was the driver, and the police didn't go hard enough to not only get the driver involved in the case, but to get the driver to at least give reasonable statements or at least corroborate what they were going to charge, which means if the only sober person doesn't corroborate that and was the closest person to it that was sober, other than Sean Kelly and these other witnesses that were like within an earshot, if they don't say Tory did it, what are you doing? The government didn't care that much. The DA didn't care that much about the only sober person. So they're going off 3 drunk people. Anyway, let me keep getting back to this, right?
Listening to Street TV.
I think it was just too drunk, bro. You know what I'm saying? When I got to the house, shorty, like, all top niggas, they gave me like 5 shots, like off the door, like, you feel me? So I was out of there, like, wasn't in there with niggas, like, you feel me? We was taking shots past that time. I wasn't even there with niggas, like, bro. I don't even remember what we was even arguing about, bro. Like, you feel me? Like,
yeah, no, I didn't even. I was already fucked up by the time you got there, so I don't know how much.
It's like, you know, but tell me what hospital she's in.
You're listening to Street TV.
I just told you.
That's another thing, right? Like, if you believe that Tory is the guy who shot your friend, I get he's in jail, and maybe that's in the back of your mind, but why would you tell him where the person he just shot is at? Tell me where he's at. Now, there is a train of thought you could go along with and say, well, check this out. Tory did do it, but they're not looking at Tory. They're looking at this as a mistake. That's why she would tell Tory where Meg was at. They're like, oh, this is just a mistake that happened. It was a fucked up drunk mistake, right? I don't know.
Cedar Medical.
All right. You ain't got Quan's number, right? You ain't got my security number.
Quan, I do have his number.
Can you call this nigga Quan and tell this nigga, bruh, you get a chance, bro, just figure out what you got to do to bail me out this shit.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's another thing. Why the heck, if he shot your best friend, could he speak comfortably to you about getting bail? Now, there is a theory, and this has been like kind of the work in defense of what, you know, people either that defend Tory online or somewhat what his lawyer, Jose Baez, tried to go with is that, listen, Tory's not here to point out a finger of who may have done the shooting or if a shooting was done. Tory Lanez is a rapper. All he can say is he ain't do it. It's y'all job to go figure out who did. However, through proving that he ain't do it, you may get some type of hint of who may have done it. And there was also this hint of Tory is defending or not trying to tell on Kelsey. Now, some people say, okay, that's stupid. And then some other people say, well, in hip hop, you're not supposed to tell. You're supposed to go through the process and get exonerated without telling. However, here, it appears the only way to really get off would be to tell. So some people are like, well, why is Tory trying to be the real nigga in this situation? But also, you got to remember in 2020, this is right after 6ix9ine. He got out, but there was this visceral reaction to you snitched. Snitching isn't really popping. Like, Kid Cudi just went into court yesterday, and fuck. He told whatever he had to say about Diddy, and to keep it real, he was so comfortable with doing whatever he did, smoking a cigarette, walking in. He even did an interview, or not, he did a video coming out. So again, by the way, I don't think Kid Cudi's a snitch. He's not a gangster. And by the way, I don't know if y'all look at Tory Lanez as a gangster, but whatever. The point is that Kid Cudi testified against Diddy, and he doesn't have to duck his head and duck his tail and run out of the building. Thank y'all for supporting me. That's what he said. Now, do we look at Tory as vastly different? I know Tory is kind of from the streets, but it appears that Tory doesn't take the stand, doesn't want to say Kelsey did it because that would make him a snitch. However, Kid Cudi, who obviously they cut from a different cloth, Kid Cudi tells on Diddy, he says this message after court.
Hey guys, so I just want to say, man, I've been seeing all the love and support. And I just want to say thank you so much, man. People have been hitting me up the past week, just checking in and even today. And it really means a lot to me, man. You guys are the best. I love y'all. This is a stressful situation. I'm glad it's behind me. And, yeah, I love y'all, man. Big love. Go stream Neverland. Hey, guys.
I'm going to be positive about this, and we could get into the Kid Cudi stuff a little bit later. We're trying not to do Diddy situations today. Again, the case is off till Tuesday. It's all about Memorial Day weekend, so because of that, federal holidays, federal court dates, okay? So any federal holidays, no one would show up to court. So that's why there's no court today and no court Monday, all right? So we will be back on Tuesday with some analysis of what's going on. We will do some, recaps and things of that sort as we kind of go along, but we won't spend 8 hours every day just talking about redundant shit that we cover pretty much in every little trivial detail while the case is going on, okay, or while the trial is going on, or while they're in court. So we're gonna try to, we got to get caught back up in hip hop. And by the way, for y'all struggling journalists out there who can't handle the coverage of this of this Joey Badass versus the West Coast thing, and y'all have been, begging me or trying to shame me. Why don't you cover it? It's okay. Daddy Ack is coming to help your struggling platform and your pipsqueak voice, and he might give some attention to what's going on there, even though it's incredibly boring. I'm sorry to say. But we got some time now. We got 4 days. And if I don't talk about it or get into it in these 4 days, we back on Diddy trial. Okay. So cool. So let's finish with this audio, and then we're going to go to the next thing that Meg is saying. Tory points to the fact, or not fact, but points to the idea that Tory is guilty.
You ain't got Quan's number, right? You ain't got my security number.
Quan, I do have his number.
Can you call this nigga Quan and tell this nigga, bruh, you get a chance, bro, just figure out what you got to do to bail me out this shit.
Okay.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate it. I'm sorry again, bro.
I think honestly, we're gonna try to, because obviously, the longer you're in there, the more hot it's gonna get. Because it's already on. There's no names released yet, but the report is already out.
But out is what? What you mean out?
It's on some app. Megan's team is on top of this. So,
yeah, but niggas don't. There's no way that Megan's on the thing.
What'd you say?
There's no way that Megan's on the thing.
You're listening to Street TV.
No. So far, none of that is there. But I mean,
yeah, I don't think it's gonna be one of those. If anything, the only nigga that's gonna get this backlash is me. It's not gonna be her.
Now, that's very important that he said that. It appears that Tory was looking at, specifically Meg. No one knew Kelsey at the time. He's looking at Meg as this person with a good, clean image, and he's saying, whatever that happens out of this, let me take it, because I'm the rapper. Gunshots being fired, this and third, I could get that. It probably helps me, because now when I talk crazy about shooters, whatever, it makes more sense. Hopefully it's not in the media about Meg. So he's trying to protect Meg. Hopefully that they're not running it, that she's involved in shootings. Okay? So that probably goes into the mindset of maybe Tory saying, yo, I'm this rapper, I'm blah, blah, blah. Not only do I want to take any type of pressure accusations of Meg, I'm not going to go in there and go blame it on a woman, which would be Kelsey, for doing it. It's cool. Let the public say whatever about me. But at this point, you could tell he's talking a little bit freely, but it's still coded. He's not speaking like he's thinking he's going to be eventually charged. He's thinking, all right, they're going to let me out of jail. We're going to be good, right? Now, would there be some bruised egos and people be mad? Yeah. But he's thinking about the bigger picture.
But
I'll let you know.
All right. It is what it is. Regardless if I get out of here today or not, bro, I just want to let y'all know, bro. I'm sorry, bro. I never did that shit if I wasn't that drunk, bro. You feel me?
Yeah.
Okay, now this is also going to be important. So at the end of this, he says, I'm sorry, I would have never did that shit. Now, that's the statement that's closest to being incriminating, because the people who are going to make the case against Tory are going to say, did that shit means the shooting. People who are for Tory are going to say, did that shit means pretty much incited this entire argument and confrontation and fight that subsequently led to bullets being fired. Okay?
Bro, like,
Yeah. You have 1 minute.
Alright, it is what it is. Regardless if I get out of here today or not, bro, I just want to let y'all know, bro. I'm sorry, bro. Like, I never did that shit if I wasn't that drunk, bro. Like, you feel me?
Yeah. You have 1 minute remaining for this call.
Okay.
Get out of here, you guys.
You're listening to Street TV.
I can't hear you.
Yeah,
Hello?
Okay. Then Jason Lee has recently came out. Apparently, he said that he had gotten some private text messages from Tory Lanez before. And listen to this, because it gives like a whole different context. And I think he's never said this before, but he said it in the last 2 days. Shout out to Jason Lee from Hollywood Unlocked.
Tory Lanez stabbed in prison. And then now he was placed on a breathing.
Here we go.
And pow pow. And she is shot. Well, for day one,
here we go.
The rumor on the street, and I'm the street, was that these three were all at Kylie Jenner's house. Lots and lots of alcohol. They were super drunk. Tory, who was allegedly sleeping with Kelsey and also allegedly sleeping with Meg, ended up hitting on Kylie Jenner. Kylie put them all out the house in the car. They on the way driving with the bodyguard. Fight breaks out. All of a sudden, pow pow. And she is shot. Well, from day one, Tory's been saying that he didn't do it. From day two, everybody says she did it. And every day, Megan said Tory did it. But Megan was so drunk, she probably don't know who did it. The internet was divided. Megan never came on our show because she thought we sided with Tory or whatever.
By the way, Esso Akune says, yo, I would have never did that shit if I wasn't drunk. Again, I told you 2 ways to interpret that. You tell me how you interpret it. By the way, thank you for the 5. She says, Meg and Tory went to an award together. They were hanging out, etc. I don't get why people acting like Meg went behind Kelsey's back. Here's the thing. Tory was seen to be they were a friend group. They were a friend group that hung out together. They used to hang out, all three. But initially, Meg knew Tory was fucking Kelsey. So Meg was just, okay, me and Tory friends, she fucking with my homegirl. So them being seen together, they're the two stars. Kelsey's not a star. Them being seen together, there's nothing wrong with that because the homegirl of Meg is fucking Tory and they all hang out. They're all friends. So Meg and Tory were seen to be friends. The reason why it's going behind her back is because Meg doesn't fuck Tory until Kelsey catches COVID. Kelsey catches COVID, and because of quarantine and all that, remember, all this started around quarantine, she goes back to Houston to get well for like 2 weeks, or it was like a month. Meg fucks Tory. Meg doesn't tell her team she is sneaking around with Tory. It's a reason why you don't see, in certain situations, she has no security. She's going to hang with Tory, and that's why you see Tory's people, not hers. She was sneaking around. So it is behind her back. Do you understand? If you're taking secret flights to go see a dude who, yes, everybody knows y'all are cool with, but they think that's your homegirl's man, but your homegirl got to be at home, but now you're going to go link with him secretly. And you're fucking him. Yes, that's behind her back.
Maybe she had too much to drink and forgot the address. Either way, she never showed up. Okay. Now, Megan was shot in her feet back in July of 2020. Now, in December 2022, Tory got convicted of all 3 charges related to the crime: assault with a semi-automatic firearm, carrying a loaded and unregistered firearm in a vehicle, and discharging a firearm with gross negligence. Now, during the trial, Tory's defense team tried to prove his innocence by alleging that Kelsey was guilty as the shooter. However, that claim fell through. Now, especially important to note is that Tory never took the stand, and Kelsey pleaded the fifth and was granted immunity. 2.5 years after Tory's conviction, Kelsey's bodyguard now has come forward alleging that she fired the gun that shot Meg The Stallion, and this is what the lawyer had to say about that statement.
Not long ago, Unite the People was approached by a gentleman named Bradley James.
All right, we're going to skip a little bit into this because we want to hear what Jason Lee supposedly says he has. And he said it was some text message. Let's keep going.
I think, of course, he's going to have a day in court to be freed. But
and he's been saying,
how does he have a day to be? No, that means they either need to appeal with the new evidence, or the governor has to give him immunity. At this point, Governor Newsom is ruining California. He should just let him out, right?
I don't know.
Okay, well, listen, there's a whole other situation going on now where Tory's team is alleging that the rapper was stabbed shortly after a news outlet contacted Meg The Stallion's team.
Okay.
How messages are delivered. What are you promised? If you're serving life in prison.
Oodles and noodles. They I don't know. It's getting really spicy. So are they now saying that Megan probably put a hit on him? Mm-hmm.
If he didn't do it, he should be freed and he should be compensated for the time he did have to.
That the point is that you never remember. Let me be very clear. Let me just give you a straight question to see if you, with all your little black historical college education, can think through this. Okay.
Sure.
She said that he shot her. She saw him shoot. She saw him shoot her.
Correct.
The lawyer is now saying that the bodyguard who was in the car, who was sober, who was guarding the bodies, saw her shoot her.
Mm-hmm.
If it's proven that the bodyguard is true.
No, this is incorrect. The bodyguard they were talking about is Kelsey's bodyguard. Quan hasn't said Kelsey did the shoot, and I think he said Tory didn't do it. Quan did an affidavit. Look, Jaquan, affidavit, Tory Lanez. So there is a Jaquan. Look, no, it's going to be before. He's now made an affidavit, and this is the affidavit. This was done last year. Remember, the courts are kind of looking at this statement to say, bro, why didn't you submit? Why didn't you just testify? You got a chance to testify. In his affidavit, say witness tonight. If you kept up with like he basically, it's too small to see. He didn't say Kelsey did it. What he did was say, let me see if I can pull it up. Sorry. What he did say was, where's the affidavit? Oh my God. I don't want to have to pull it up. No. You see, people are mixing up the bodyguards. There's two different bodyguards. One is Tory's bodyguard, and the other is so Jaquan is Tory's bodyguard. Okay, here we go. And this has been submitted to the appellate court, and this is in the appellate. This is in the writ of habeas corpus, right? So this is why I think I previously said 10% chance. I think this is 30% as well, just because of this bodyguard now saying this. Now, granted, the way how an appellate court usually works. If it was an appeal for a new trial, Jaquan's statement doesn't mean anything because they're going to say, you had the opportunity during trial to bring him up. You didn't. But in a writ of habeas corpus appeal, someone who was there, who was an eyewitness, who could say, Tory didn't do it, that does mean something. So this is why you're seeing his affidavit in the writ of habeas corpus thing. My name is Jaquan Smith. I'm over age of 18. I have firsthand knowledge of the facts in question that happened. Let's keep reading, see if we can get some more. I was the driver, the bodyguard, on whatever. Let's get to the bullshit. So I began to drive. They start fighting, Okay, cool. I don't think he ever said, look, I pulled over to stop Miss Pete and when I got out of the vehicle and continued to fight and verbal physically. I broke up the fight and was pulling Miss Pete towards the back of the car. I saw, never mind. I saw Miss Harris with a gun in her hand. Mr. Peterson ran behind Mr. Peterson, Tory, ran behind Meg and myself towards Miss Harris. Mr. Peterson, Mr. Harris began struggling as Mr. Peterson, Tory, tried to unarm Miss Harris. I was still pulling Miss Pete and did not see who shot the weapon. Yes. See, that was interesting. Jaquan, the bodyguard, did not say Kelsey did it. He said, I didn't see who do it. I didn't see who did it, but the gun wasn't in Tory's hand. The gun was in Kelsey's hand. Now, that was a little bit problematic because you need him to say, I saw Kelsey do it. Instead, he said, I didn't see who do it, but I saw who had the gun in their hand. That's the problem, okay? And by the way, I'm wondering, you're Tory's bodyguard. Like, why not just say that? Now, some people believe that there is some issues with maybe, again, perjury and these other things that legally could come back to bite people. Everybody's like being cryptic. Like, if you're going to write an affidavit that's going to help Tory, just literally say so-and-so did it. Now, here's the thing. They might be saying, hey, and if you're saying, how could this be perjury? Well, if he says, I saw Kelsey do it, if this writ of habeas corpus works and Tory gets free, they're going to use his affidavit, bring him in, the DA, and say, hey, we're charging Kelsey for perjury. You have to testify because you seen her do it, and she claims she didn't. You get what I'm saying? So it's a lot of little things that are going into play here. But it says, I saw Miss Harris with a gun in the hand. Tory ran behind Meg and myself towards Miss Harris, and they started fighting over the gun, and he was trying to unarm her. I was still pulling at Meg and Pete. I didn't see who shot the weapon, but luckily I wasn't harmed. In my opinion, Miss Pete was also fortunate. The whole incident happened so quickly within just a couple of minutes. I want to present this evidence during Mr. Peterson's trial, but was prevented to do so as the district attorney was not ready to cross-examine me. Now, granted, the attorney general submitted their brief in response to this writ of habeas corpus saying, we gave Tory the chance to bring this witness in, but we would have to delay the trial until after the holidays. He said, no, we won't use the witness. So that's their response to that. And later, they did not call me due to the holidays and court schedule. I believe I should have been allowed to present this evidence at trial. Okay? So again, it would be a stronger thing if it said, I seen on my own 2 eyes. It was Kelsey, not Tory. He didn't say that. He said, I didn't see who did it, but the last person with the gun was Kelsey, and I saw Tory rushing over to Kelsey looking like he was trying to disarm her. Anyway, we're just trying to get to these messages.
Again, I like when people cut me off. I don't let me finish my thought.
Sorry, sir.
Don't try to be a victim because you want to fix it now because you a man ago. I don't know. I don't have enough.
Correct. I was saying, should she go to jail because she said
Man, free him.
I'm going to around her.
Here we go.
It was only them 4.
You're talking about perjury.
Hold on.
Correct.
Hold on. And guess what?
Correct.
Tory DM'd me some time ago. I never like to put receipts out, but let me go ahead and just pull it
Man,
out.
free him.
I'm going to tell you exactly what Tory said to me. Hold on. Tory Lanez. Let me go back to the pre-stabbing dates. Hold on.
Oh, God.
Tory Lanez. Okay. In a text message between...
Hey, on the Academy, I see someone says, the neighbor said the short guy did the shooting. Well, the neighbor is Sean Kelly. At first, he didn't say the short guy did the shooting. He said the short guy was fighting with the woman, and he saw the woman for the gun, but the woman did the shooting. So his story changed. Sean Kelly, that's Sean Kelly you're talking about. His story changed. His story was that the shooting was done by Kelsey at first, and then when he got to court, he had a meeting with the prosecutors, kind of at lunchtime, and when he took the stand, he literally said, oh, no, the short guy did the shooting, which was interesting. It was very different from the statement he gave to police that night, which was consistent with the woman doing the shooting, not Tory.
Tory and I said, yo. He said, what's good? I said, how you surviving that bullshit? Wish we could have sat down before you left. Because me and him hung out with Madonna when they were messing around. Don't believe me? Take a look at this photo. I said, do you have a number? He said, what's yours? Let me move on to the text messages now.
Here we go.
Then we started to text message each other. I said, how are you? How you been? He said, incredible, in very high spirits and preparing to physically come home this year. I said, when? I need to come in there and get an interview, LOL. He said, I can't say exact days, but I know I'll be home this year. I said, how long you been gone? I'm so confused by your case. He said, actually, I have a crazy plan when I get back that I think you should know and be a part of because I'm only going to do one interview. And he said he's been gone 2.5 years. I said, I want to be a part of that plan. He said, it's honestly a bunch of suppressed evidence that was kept away from me during trial. I said, Wack told me that, but didn't say what. He said, like, through trial, they keep saying it was inconclusive on the gun DNA, but I always knew I never touched the gun, so I asked my lawyer to retest it, and sure enough, I was 102% excluded completely from everything, just like I said. I said, well, why didn't you just say who did it? Fuck doing time for something you ain't do.
I like how Jason Lee texts. Jason Lee, I like how you text message, brother. Pause. The reason why I like how you text message, you ask the direct questions right away. Nigga, why you ain't... All right, fuck all that. Why you ain't say who did it, nigga? Because every time Tory's ever really talked to me about it, as I said, he's told me the story, and the story always stops right when the shooting happens, and it picks up right when the police gets there. So it's like there's a blank. He's never told me what happened. I'm going to be honest. Never told me. Nor anyone on his team has ever told me exactly what happened. You know, it's kind of like assumed. You could kind of get bits and pieces that he's like you could figure it out that, yeah, it ain't me, but it's so-and-so, but he ain't telling you directly like, man, she did it. And I don't know, maybe that's part of snitching or the no snitching thing. I don't want to bring up, I don't know what it is. Anyway, every time he's always told me the story, I've always thought to myself, yo, Tory, why don't you just say who did it, bro? Like, that's a very easy question. Now, granted, obviously, if you're trying to stick up for somebody or if you think you're from the street and you don't point fingers, maybe that you have like a moral dilemma. But I like the fact that Jason Lee at least asked, all right, nigga, why don't you just say who did it?
Evidence that was kept away from me during trial. I said, Wack told me that, but didn't say what.
Two more shots, Jack?
Through trial, they keep saying it was inconclusive on the gun DNA, but I always knew I never touched the gun, so I asked my lawyer to retest it, and sure enough, I was 102% excluded completely
if I take these
from
two more
everything,
shots,
just like I said. I said, well, why didn't you just...
Let's get at least 10 memberships on all the pages, and also let's get 10 subs to Kick and Rumble. Come on.
Say who did it. Fuck doing time for something you ain't do. He said, I took the rap for Kelsey, never wanted her to go to jail, and I never wanted Megan to get hurt or anything. So in me stopping her from getting shot, I got the raw deal. Crazy how...
Okay, no, that's important. Tory's never told me that. Jason Lee, by the way, this is my second shot. Jason Lee saying that Tory texted him and said, I guess this is Tory in jail, because Tory was previously talking about, I'm coming home this year, so he was locked up. So Tory has said to Jason Lee via text, I took the rap for Kelsey. Now let me ask y'all a question. Is it a day late and $1 or $2 short? Because if you're gonna text Jason Lee and say I took the rap for Kelsey, gang. Well, I mean, I guess taking a rap is taking a rap. I was like, yo, why didn't you just say it at the trial? Yo, she did it, bruv. Or I guess they would have called him a snitch, right? Bro, I'm so glad I'm a civilian.
Want to be a part of that plan. He said it's honestly a bunch of suppressed evidence that was kept away.
By the way, happy Friday, chat. Happy Friday. Drink up your water if you're at work still. If you got Friday off because you work a federal job or whatever the case is, please take a shot with me. How you say, chat? Shout out to my Hispanic folks. They say, arriba, pa dentro, whatever, abajo, arriba, pa abajo. Nigga, just drink. That's what I do. That Don. Woo! Let's go.
For me during trial. I said, Wack told me that, but didn't say what. He said, like, through trial, they keep saying it was inconclusive on the gun DNA, but I always knew I never touched the gun, so I asked my lawyer to retest it, and sure enough, I was 102% excluded completely from everything, just like I said. I said, well, why didn't you just say who did it? Fuck doing time for something you ain't do. He said, I took the rap for Kelsey, never wanted her to go to jail, and I never wanted Megan to get hurt or anything. So in me stopping her from getting shot, I got the raw deal. Crazy how life works. And to think they made me the poster boy for the unprotection of black women, when in all honesty, I protected 2 black women, one from getting...
Oh, wow. That's a hell of a statement.
...in time for something you... What? He said, like, through trial, they keep saying it was inconclusive on the gun DNA, but I always knew I never touched the gun, so I asked my lawyer to retest it, and sure enough, I was 102% excluded completely from everything, just like I said. I said, well, why didn't you just say who did it? Fuck doing time for something you ain't do. He said, I took the rap for Kelsey, never wanted her to go to jail, and I never wanted Megan to get hurt or anything. So in me stopping her from getting shot, I got the raw deal. Crazy how life works. And to think they made me the poster boy for the unprotection of black women, when in all honesty, I protected 2 black women, one from getting shot and one from going to jail. Never said nothing in 8 to 10 years for them to live. It's a crazy, crazy place we live in. I said, but why you ain't just say that? Nick.
And I know some, you know what's so interesting? If Tory's flat out lying, why is Kelsey so quiet? Chat, I've hit Kelsey up. She doesn't want to speak about this. And I'm thinking, Tory is basically at this point saying, you shot your best friend. How come you've never came out to say, Tory, stop fucking lying on me, nigga? You know you fucking did that shit. Stop bringing up my name and serve your 10 years in peace. Why is she so quiet? Her silence kind of it screams guilt. How come you're not defending your name? How come you don't want to have nothing to do with this? At first, I was like, all right, she's not saying nothing because she's not cool with Meg no more. Kelsey not cool with Meg. So she ain't trying to speak up for Meg, if that was the case. But at this point, they're now saying, you did it. And you're still not speaking. This kind of sounds crazy. If somebody said I did some shit like this, I would be speaking up. Nigga, stop bringing my name in that bullshit. I ain't did that motherfucking thing. Why is she so fucking quiet? Go to her Instagram. Why is she so damn quiet? My brother's called me. I gotta tell him I'm on stream. Everybody's now like super worried about my safety since y'all niggas trying to get me shot. Hold on. Yo, I'm on stream. You good?
Yeah, man. But that's a check for you, man, because, your mother and thing, but that's to make sure you're good.
I talked to mom last night. Yeah, no, I'm on stream. I hit you after. You good?
All right. Big up this
I'm going to get you the... When's the Beanie Man show?
Tomorrow.
It's tomorrow?
Yeah, man.
All right, let me try to make some magic work for you.
All right, cool. Let me know.
I bet. Oh, by the way, Cartel coming back to Barclays Labor Day. Just announced. Yeah. We in the Atlantic City show though. Don't worry.
All right, sell off.
I bet. Later. Yeah, that's my middle brother. He's the one who just got married. He's just checking on me and shit like that. Yeah, we bonded at that motherfucking Vibes Cartel show. Like, we Jamaican up in there. Like, yo, this man from 90s Machiavelli makeup. Yo. Yeah, we Jamaican. Me and him, like, shit, we've been through a lot together, man. So, anyway, you just try to make sure I'm good. Just call him Brother Akademiks, all right? I don't want to dox no. That's just Brother Akademiks, all right? And then I got my oldest brother. Like, my middle brother hit me. If you're not Jamaican, you won't know these people. My middle brother hit me and be like, so I'm trying to get him tickets for Beanie Man show tomorrow. I'll make some magic work. I'm going to get him some Beanie Man tickets. He hit me yesterday. No, he hit me the other day and he was just like, yo, our oldest brother. So, like, I'm a Vibes Cartel generation type of guy. Oh, shit, I almost said my brother's name. My middle brother is like Beanie Man, and then my oldest brother is like Bounty Killer. So, like, suppose Bounty Killer is coming to Barclays. So, my family just look at me like, we in the box suite? So what? What are we doing? Are we VIP? I'm like, all right, I'll make it work for y'all. It's fine. Family bonding moments, okay? Anyway, back to what I'm saying, Chad. Sorry. Wait, Kelsey's only 29? Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Well, I didn't know that. Hilarious. Okay. Yeah, she had a kid. She seemed unbothered. Let me see what her comments look like. Yo, you gotta come out of hiding now, love. Time to face what you did. It's gonna be okay. Time to tell the truth, love. Not y'all just catching on. It was Kelsey. Yo, how does she allow these comments on her picture without saying, yo, stop playing with me? They telling on you now. So you really shot the stallion? How does she not respond to this? Yo, why does Kelsey just keep so quiet? Like, it's boggled my mind to the utmost. How is Kelsey so fucking quiet? I don't care where she stands on it. By the way, the only thing she's ever said, you remember she dropped a diss song? Kelsey Nicole diss to Meg. She dropped a diss song because she was beefing with Meg. She drops this shit called Bustin' Back. Listen.
Yeah, who I'm taking shots at? Bitch, I'm busting you. I'm talking to that same bitch that crashed that boat on 42. It's a shame we here today. Truth be told, it's cause of you. Couldn't control your little feelings. Look what dick is costing you.
Couldn't control your little feelings. Look what dick is costing you.
It was all good, yeah, about a week ago. Shout out Bobby Smarter, but this bitch is really cheap. If I was the one with the gun, you would've heard about a murder. Said her.
Oh, shit. But they're saying she shot. They say if it was I was the one with the gun, you'd have heard about him. Would she have shot her best friend? Yo, let me tell you this. Women really, you don't know how far a woman will go beefing with her friend over some dick.
Back was turned, but that girl know who really hurt her. Never been a jealous friend, and the people really know it. If you would've kept it solid, then I would've been told it. See, I really thought I knew you, thought that you would keep it G. If you wanna talk gangster, bitch, I'm really from the street. Imagine lying.
Okay. Give me 1 second. I got it. This is not an emergency this time, chat. My pool people are here.
But Kelsey.
And apparently they're like, they call my assistant. They're like, yo, they see my dogs and they're like, we're not getting back there because we're not getting bit. So I just got to escort them to the back. So give me a second. It's no police this time. They're just scared of my dogs. So this is Kelsey. Let's see if we could. This is the interview she did. Okay. I'm going to go here that y'all can watch a little bit of what she said. And I'm coming back real quick. Let me just walk these people back to the pool.
Things. But that was the start of our friendship. And of course, I kept trucking and doing my own thing after I left PV. I didn't finish college. I kept doing my own thing, and I was still involved in the Houston music scene. Mm-hmm. So, my work with her doing her thing, she was on her rise, and me doing my own thing within the Houston music scene. She wanted me to come with her and be on her team because she needed somebody that she could trust and somebody that obviously was knowledgeable in that area. So that's how all of that transformed.
Is that how your life as an entrepreneur began?
No. My life as an entrepreneur, like I said earlier, when my dad passed away in 2017, he had left. When he passed away, he had an unfinished album.
Okay.
So it was my job as his oldest daughter, you know what I'm saying, and somebody who had connections, I felt like was my duty to complete that album for him. So I had to go hawk down every session, find out every producer he worked with. I had to find somebody to help me get graphics and stuff like that for his album.
Sounds like you were the A&R of that project.
Yeah. And I am. And even then, I didn't know what an A&R was. I'm just doing stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I put the album out. I was in the streets selling them, like literally CDs, pushing them in the streets, getting his content together, rolling it out. And that's how the journey of Kelsey and my business, KM Management, started. Before he passed away, he sent me a message and was like, hey, Slim Thug needs models for his music video. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's one of the things I looked back into, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna do what he wanted me to do. He wanted me to be in the scene.
All right, yeah. The Pluto and Prince combo is deadly, man. Shout out to they said they added salt to my pool. What the fuck? Anyway. And niggas seen Pluto and Prince. It was like, I'm good. So. All right. Okay. All right. So. I think this is the replayed part where she never really said nothing about it. Like, why is she so evasive towards it? I used to think she don't fuck with Meg. So she not trying to say nothing that makes Meg look good. But even if that's the case, why don't say the opposite? And I was like, maybe the truth lies on Meg's side and she don't fuck with Meg, so she not trying to co-sign Meg. But it don't even feel like that no more. It just feels like she's shady. I don't know what the fuck is going on with her. Here we go.
All that said, a lot of people in the media, they throw around the term best friend loose. I mean, not just in the media, everywhere. It's best friend. Everybody's your best friend, right? Like this person's your best. Oh, we're best friends. They see me with Kato every day. They think I would actually be best friends with this guy. You know what I mean? but it's the narrative that goes around, right, with everybody. Was Megan Thee Stallion
two more shots or not?
Actually your best friend for that period of time?
Yeah. I believe she was my best friend at that time. I trusted her. She trusted me. I would like to believe that it was genuine. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I know I was genuine. So, yeah, I think, she was my best friend. Shit. She seen me as the same. But
yo, who says she got Zion Williamson arms? That's not playing, man.
People do throw that best friend term around loosely.
Yeah. Now, by the way, also for the people who are judging her look, she had a kid. I don't know how she looked before she had a kid. But, obviously, Tory get a lot of bad bitches. Like, Tory's seen something he liked.
You'll meet somebody and then be their best friend the next day, but it's all for a look. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, it's going to be on that. What's up, twin?
Yeah, I'm like, nah, I'm not loosely throwing no best.
We skip best friends and
went to twins? Nah, I'm not loosely throwing that term around because that comes with a lot. You know what I'm saying? Nah. But I felt like she was my best friend at that time.
Yeah. It's the word brother for men. You know what I mean? They're like,
how did you meet Tory?
I met him at an industry event, the Rock Nation brunch.
Oh man. That's ground zero, chat. The day Tory went to that Rock Nation brunch, that nigga reserved a bunk bed in goddamn a California State Prison, man. She met him at a Rock Nation brunch and Rock Nation done that nigga, man.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where we met. Yeah, shit.
Yeah, sure.
What was that like? You got this 5'2" guy walking up to you.
Honestly, like I don't have, other than obviously the infamous night, I don't have nothing bad to say about him. The encounters we did have, he had good energy. He was happy. He was cool. I ain't got nothing bad to say about him outside of all that.
Nothing about his hair or anything?
You know what's crazy? Y'all know what's crazy? I didn't even know about the hair part.
Really?
Until after everything. until after that night. And you start seeing people spin that picture in the media. And I'm like, what the fuck? Is that for real?
I'll be around this nigga.
I never knew like that was a thing. Like that, I didn't know about all that.
I always been.
Somebody say, old man says, she looks like that fish off SpongeBob. My leg! My leg! Hold on, wait, which fish is that? Let me see. Fish off SpongeBob. Y'all ain't shit. I mean, there's all fishes off SpongeBob. My leg. Hold on, let me see. My leg! Yo, yeah. Hold on. My leg! Yeah, I fucked up, man.
Y'all know I'm in a relationship, and that was years ago. I don't even want to elaborate on that.
Okay. I was just wondering if he sang to her or something,
Nah.
But so obviously there's so much that went on with that I would imagine that's very painful to talk about.
Yeah.
Betrayal.
Mm-hmm.
And Is that where the friendship ended? Is that night how the friendship ended between you and Meg?
You know, what's crazy is
The night in question of the shooting.
it's still so unclear to me how we got here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Especially when you consider somebody your best friend. You call them your sister. You're with them every day. You know what I'm saying? I would like to say no, the whole situation of her doing whatever behind my back, that is not why we fell out. It's so unclear to me why we fell out. I'm a type of person that likes to communicate things. Some people don't like to communicate.
It's a task for people, some people.
Right. But you would think when you have this, when you're close to this person and this person is supposed to be, you know, like your best friend, your family, your sister, that you would be able to talk about these things and, you know, agree to disagree. You don't even have to, if you know, people grow and everybody has a season. So if that was just the end of our season, I feel like we should have been able to just have that conversation and it would have been fine. You don't have to end in, you know, chaos or can't move on with peace. You know, I'm the type of person that like.
No, so she has a current guy who supposedly actually works with 1501 or did. She has a kid with him. But at the time when she dated Tory, she was single. Or not dated, but she was fucking him.
On with peace.
Yeah.
You know, I can respect that people grow. But I guess, I don't know if it's a thing where people feel like they don't like to face the reality of things.
It's easier.
Is it
easier
easier
not to face the music and actually
talk about what, you know, the problems or what's wrong?
It's
or,
easier to do that. Let's just pretend like everything, you know what I'm saying?
I don't understand that.
Yeah, we live in
I'm not saying it's right.
It's like walking into a relationship that you could tell is dead and actually sitting down and having a conversation about why you want to end it.
All right, they're talking a lot about just her relationship with Meg. Let's try to get to the night.
The big girl part. I was like, even though, yes, if it comes down to it, whatever, I'm going to handle my business.
Yeah.
I don't go out and seek drama. I'm not a confrontational person, but if it has to be that, then that's what it is. But I would prefer to not have to go there. You know what I'm saying? And these are things that, you know, she does know. You know, I'm not that type of person. I'm not fixing to get on the internet and do all that.
Now, again, I don't want to, I prefer not to get too into detail about those types of things. But I did want to ask, is that night, the infamous night, the night that you actually found out about the betrayal?
It's crazy. Yeah, it is. It is.
It's a night
to my knowledge, shit.
It's the night she found out that Meg was fucking Tory. That's what I'm saying. It's behind her back.
Other than that, like shit, she was 100.
Yeah.
To my knowledge. So yeah, it did end up coming out that night that she had been betraying me or whatever. And of course, it's like, damn, why it had to come out like this? Like we should be able to. You should be able to come to me and say this. That way we can laugh in these niggas' faces, not these niggas laughing at us.
Supposed to be on the same team.
Right, exactly. And so, but for me, it's never about like, I'm not fixing to fall out with nobody behind no guy.
Yeah.
That's like the last thing. You know what I'm saying? But of course, there are principles. And of course, when you are this tight with somebody, we should never have to do that to each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
But why y'all saying finish the Jason Lee interview? Like, I thought I did. What did Jason Lee say that I missed?
Nigga, when I got shot, I told, and he said, I lost my mother at 11 years old. I couldn't sleep with myself. I was the reason for taking a mother away from her kid. I just couldn't do it.
By the way, these are the Tory texts to Jason Lee about the situation.
Wanted her to go to jail, and I never trial. They keep saying it was inconclusive on the gun DNA, but I always knew I never touched the gun, so I asked my lawyer to retest it, and sure enough, I was 102% excluded completely from everything, just like I said. I said, well, why didn't you just say who did it? Fuck doing time for something you ain't do. He said, I took the rap for Kelsey, never wanted her to go to jail, and I never wanted Megan to get hurt or anything. So in me stopping her from getting shot, I got the raw deal. Crazy how life works. And to think they made me the poster boy for the unprotection of black women, when in all honesty, I protected 2 black women, one from getting shot and one from going to jail. Never said nothing in 8 to 10 years for them to live. It's a crazy, crazy place we live in. I said, but why you ain't just say that? Nigga, when I got shot, I told. And he said, I lost my mother at 11 years old. I couldn't sleep with myself. I was the reason for taking a mother away from her kid. I just couldn't do it. Tory Lanez.
He's better than me.
And again, I truly believe if Tory Lanez is innocent, he should be freed and he should be compensated for time that he was wrongly
Problematic because even
and I shouldn't go lie. She should go to jail.
Megan, you might be going to jail, girl. Based on what he's saying, look, Tory may be many things. I've been to Tory's house once. I've partied with Tory once. Yeah. He's not my friend. We don't chit chat like that. But if he took 10 years on the chin to protect 2 black women for what he's alleging and then end up getting stabbed 14 times as a result, get him up out of there if he didn't do it. But what I'm saying is, Kelsey, if you did it, you need to go to jail. And Megan, if you lied on that man, I will be the first one to be there and say you need to go to jail. Now, look, if this is all just one drunk night where nobody remembers anything and somebody ended up getting shot, then say that. But she said in the documentary, he did it.
Yep.
There's also clips of her online saying he shot at me from this one. I mean, her story's been changing up. Just say I was drunk and I don't remember who did it.
That's what I'm saying.
That was the confusing part about the trial. Now, granted, we never saw a video of the trial, but people came out of court and told us what was going on, this and third. And here's the thing about everything they were saying, supposedly with the trial, is they never really got into the fact that all these people are drunk. And all these people, what the hell? Am I tripping? Wait, is the King Akademiks channel not on? All these people were drunk, and that everybody's testimony is unreliable. They never got into that, which is always odd to me. Why not bring up the fact that Kelsey supposedly was passed out for 2 hours because she drank a whole bottle? She was knocked out. Her testimony can't be reliable. Meg The Stallion was kicked out. And that's the thing about Kylie not taking a stand. The stylist tried to kind of say it, but Kylie and other people at the party not taking a stand because they didn't want to get involved. Because this entire thing, it was putting men against women, woke against these people who are red pill. And what it did was that people didn't come out to say certain things that maybe not about the shooting, but it would be important to know, hey, I was at that party. Meg The Stallion could barely walk. She was clearly blacked out. She was beyond herself. She was inebriated. Even if Tory, both of them. What does that mean? Not saying nobody could have done the shooting or Tory couldn't have done the shooting or it couldn't be how we now see the law has dictated how this went down. But what it says is that when you listen to these people talk, remember they're talking about, they went to trial in late 2022, December 2022. Or October, November, December 2022 till it got decided. It happened in July or whatever, 2020. Yeah, they were blacked out drunk. They didn't remember shit from the next day about the night before. How they gonna remember 2 years later? It wasn't a thing about these people's opinions or their testimony should be heavily weighted that they were super drunk, perhaps blacked out. Okay, Kelsey doesn't really say anything about that night, I believe. So I want to skip past this and keep going.
All right, y'all, we back. I'm back. This time we in Miami.
I see that had the cause in your life. And you've mentioned it earlier. World, and it's like you're not this person. How?
Right. Since that night,
she doesn't say anything about that night really. Some people say play Charleston White talking about that night. Not tonight. Charleston White talking about Diddy and Cassie. We're not on Diddy on Cassie right now, so we won't play that. Let's go back actually to the Shade Room post where this is what Meg dropped yesterday, trying to say, hey, Tory is guilty, and that the right decision was made. They're saying that Harris, which is Meg's friend, Kelsey Harris, or at the time, Meg's friend, Kelsey Harris, Tory shot Meg, and handled me. 911. Apparently, this is minutes after the shooting. Harris had texted Megan's security guard. Okay, this is the text message thread here. It says Harris, September 14, 2022, interview with prosecutor. She says, I saw Tory shot the gun in Meg's direction, and then supposedly confirmed that Tory offered $1 million. Now, that's going to be important. We're going to pull that up for a second. Megan, let me see. No. Kelsey Harris interview with district attorney. Okay, so this was the interview.
Okay, it's September 14th, 2022. It's 11:30 in the morning. This is Deputy District Attorney Alexander Bob.
Okay.
And so, I stepped in and I said, you're not going to talk to my friend like that. Like, I don't care what y'all got going on, but you're not going to talk to her like that.
Hold on.
Okay, can you tell? Megan I was screaming. I was tripping. I was having a panic attacks. Megan, honestly, was very calm.
Let's go to the shooting. Here we go.
I just thought he was coming over to attack us. So I stepped in between where he was coming to where Megan was. And at that point, that's when the assault between me and him happened. He assaulted me. And Quan then comes he just comes and he picks me up like a little doll. And he's like, Kelsey, they do this all the time. And I said, huh? She's bleeding. She's been shot. I don't know if y'all know she's shot. By that time, he's already to where Megan's at. So, I don't know what goes on in that driveway.
Who comes towards Megan? Is that Quan or Tory?
Okay, let's go back to where the gunshots are fired and what she says.
What was Quan doing? Could you tell?
I think everybody was in shock.
Okay, so he wasn't.
Okay,
rear passenger.
The right front
passenger.
Okay.
passenger. So again, as I said, he must have jumped, or I don't know how he did it because it was very small. I mean, very smooth. And he was leaning over the front passenger door, and she was shooting the gun.
Where were you standing at this point?
At this point, I'm standing kind of like my body's still like to the side behind the door, the rear passenger door. So I would say my left side was the rear passenger, and my right side was kind of like this. Like this is the door, and I'm.
Are you still partially in the car at this point?
No, I'm out of the vehicle. Okay. I'm out of the vehicle. I'm just not around my door yet.
Yeah.
So.
Do you know where's Megan?
So I was about to speak on Megan. So she was walking away when this happened, but by the third, fourth shot, and by the time I look up, she's facing towards us, and I've described it like a deer in headlights. Mm-hmm. I'm short. I'm 4'11". The vehicle is kind of a little raised up, higher than me, so I can't really see. I can only see from her chest up. That's all I can see. But the way Tory was angling the gun is kind of like, it wasn't like straight. It was like, down.
Mm-hmm. It was down in her direction?
Definitely in her direction.
So she's kind of saying Tory's leaning outside the car, front passenger side, and shooting over the vehicle, but not shooting. The gun is aimed down. I don't know what the fuck. Or, in the Meg documentary that she put out, she gives like a visualization. I don't know if y'all want to look at that. So Meg The Stallion documentary animation. It was the animation of the shooting. Let's see if I can play just that part. It's an animation of the. Maybe it's
everything. And I didn't feel like I was. When you.
I think this was released to Hulu or something like that. I don't know. Can't find it.
I'm playing that.
Okay, anyway.
Definitely in her direction. So at that point, we kind of were in shock,
Did you hear him say anything as he was shooting?
He did not say anything.
Okay.
There was no words at that point, you know.
What was Quan doing? Could you tell?
I think everybody was in shock.
Okay, so he wasn't.
He wasn't
part
even
of it.
at this point right here. He wasn't part of this. What I'm about to get into next. I can't tell you guys where Tory pulled the gun from. Like I said, the motion when he first threatened me was middle console, but I don't know if that's where the gun was.
But you had said he referenced like shooting y'all earlier while you're in the car, right?
He threatened to shoot me.
As if he had a gun in his control somewhere.
Correct.
Okay.
And so after the shots rang, it was like I said, 5 shots. We kind of froze, and by the time I get back into I snapped. Megan had either crawled or walked or limped over to. She's in a driveway. She's in a driveway on the
Most
side.
Hated the Goat says, didn't this? Her text says 7:27 a.m. Didn't this happen at night? Yes. So here's the thing, though. It happened at after 4. The person she's texting is on the East Coast or is in Houston or something. So that person, for them, remember this is Kelsey texted. They're gonna get the message. Remember, the West Coast is 3 hours behind. So right now on the East Coast is 2 p.m. Right now on the West Coast is 11 a.m. You get what I'm saying? So they're texting at 11 a.m. So Kelsey's texting at 4 a.m. and they're getting it at 7, or maybe it's 5 and 7 if it's central, right?
Out of the driver's side. She's in a driveway. Tory sits down.
In the front passenger seat?
In the front passenger seat.
Okay.
He's sitting. I guess just kind of shocked also. So I run over to her. I immediately ran to her. You know, she's the forefront of my thoughts. My job as a friend in general is just naturally is to protect my friend, protect.
That's why it's so interesting. She's telling the police about protecting her friend. My job is to protect. I love my friend, my friend, my friend. And then she goes to talk to Tory after her friend's in the hospital. And she seems, if you ask me, more concerned with maybe getting Tory out of jail. That's odd. You're trying to protect your friend. Your friend goes to the hospital. You're outside the hospital calling the nigga in jail. That's odd.
So now I'm in defense mode on the behalf of Megan. I ran to her. She's on the floor. I never looked at her feet. I never really just got to look at her. I just know when I ran to her and she grabbed me, she had blood. So in my head, she had got shot because shots just went off and she's bleeding. That's what I think. So I see Tory coming around the vehicle. It's dark. Lights are flat, hitting him. It's almost like a scary scene. So again, I'm in defense mode. I see him coming around the vehicle, and in my head, I'm thinking he's about to come over here and attack us.
Do you see whether or not when he's coming around the vehicle if he still has the gun?
I don't believe he had the gun.
Okay.
So like I said, I just thought he was coming over to attack us. So I stepped in between where he was coming to where Megan was. And at that point, that's when the assault between me and him happened. He assaulted me. And Quan then he just comes and he picks me up like a little doll. And he's like, Kelsey, they do this all the time. And I said, huh? She's bleeding. She's been shot. I don't know if y'all know she's shot. By that time, he's already to where Megan's at. So, I don't know what goes on in that driveway.
Who comes towards Megan? Is that Quan or Tory?
So initially, Tory comes,
Yeah.
and that's where I stepped in, and we had an altercation. He physically assaulted me, and then Quan came and separated him from me.
What exactly did he do when he was assaulting you?
I mean, everything. My adrenaline was so high. I don't know if he was hitting me with a closed fist or slapping me. It was just it was a physical altercation.
Were you wearing a necklace that night?
I was, and I'm gonna go to that part too. Now Tory's in the driveway with Megan. Quan is holding me. Like I said, he's big. He just picked me up and said, "They do this all the time, Kelsey." And I said, "Huh? No, she's bleeding. She's been shot, to my knowledge." And so I'm still in defense mode. I'm still in, I gotta protect her. Yeah. So I look up and I see the vehicle is in the middle of the road and it's on. The door is open. So my initial reaction is to cause a distraction. And I jumped into the vehicle and I threw it in jerk. And it worked.
What does that mean?
I just jerked it, made it move.
Okay.
Made it move just to get him away.
I said, did they ever find any blood? Her story's conflicting because Meg said that he said dance bitch. Yeah, I guess they just allowed her to talk. They didn't ask her about the dance bitch dance thing. Clearly there was blood though, because when Meg was backing out of the car, there was blood dripping from her leg. So there was definitely blood. To ignore that there was blood, and by the way, there are pictures. I think if you get back to the Street TV person, because they had pulled a lot of stuff. Street TV, Meg The Stallion, there's definitely blood. There was pictures of blood. By the way, this was the 2 911 calls made that night.
Thanks for
2020.
Paramedics?
Yeah, we just have gunshots next to my house.
What's the address there?
1801 Nichols Canyon Road.
How many gunshots did you hear?
Probably about 4.
23,
and somebody screaming outside.
Okay, stay on the line with me, okay? I'm going to get the officers going, license sirens.
All right.
Don't hang up. Do you hear a male or a female voice screaming?
You're listening to
voice
Street
screaming.
TV.
I think someone might be shot. I don't know.
Okay. Someone asking for medical attention? Do you hear them asking for paramedics?
4, 24,
I
and
just hear someone
10
screaming.
Okay,
seconds.
stay on the line with me, okay? Don't hang up.
Okay.
I feel like we're redoing the case.
Suspect is female, black, 30 years, 5'5", wearing a black sweater, blue jeans, 390. Hanging on PR's back door with unknown object. Monitor comments for health and safety. It's code 2, incident 843, already 1218.
4 gunshots heard, female heard screaming outside. Incident 845,
You're
already
listening to
622.
Street
Stand by
TV.
for additional.
331 controls responding from Elf Central and Sunset.
How are you in 331 responding code 3 from El Central and Sunset, 1801 Nichols Canyon Road?
Somebody just left. I don't know.
Okay. Are you able to, in a vehicle or on foot?
I don't know.
4, 25, and
No problem, sir. I
50
appreciate it.
seconds.
But if you see anything like a car or anything like that, or you hear anything speeding away, just let me know, okay?
You're listening to
But we
Street
have
TV.
officers responding, license sirens.
622. Hollywood Boulevard additional on 848.
4,
We're going to have that view.
It's in Nichols Canyon, but it is north of me. Do not send cops to my address.
Okay, so I need an address or a cross.
That was the person who said don't send police to my house.
Coming from Nichols Canyon and Courtney Avenue. Shouting, the woman was definitely louder. There was a...
Here we go.
Yeah, immediately after that, as soon as that happened...
Okay, let's get her story. This is from...
4, 27,
There were probably, I'm going to say 5.
This person said 5, it was 4.
Yeah, immediately after that, as soon as that happened, there was all kinds of shouting. The woman was definitely louder. There was at least one male also, and it continued for, like a minute and a half or so, and I thought, well, I think she's being hurt. I need to call somebody.
Okay. Do you know if did you hear any cars driving away?
No.
Okay.
But it was really loud. It's like, I don't know if they were in the street, if it was homeless people in the street, or I don't know what.
2020.
You're listening to Street TV.
4:28 and 01 seconds.
There's anybody that was actually shot?
Oh, I have no idea.
Okay. Okay. Did you want to leave your name and phone number?
No, definitely not.
Okay.
Yeah, because if there aren't, I really don't want them. And police, one time I called in an emergency, and the officer afterward came to my house to follow up. Please don't do that, because if this person is armed, as apparently they are, I really don't want them seeing, seeing where the call may have come from. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Okay. All right. Sorry, chat. We're just kind of going through all this stuff. Sorry, we're going to get to that too. So, Kelsey, in her interview with the district attorney, by the way, this was conducted in September 2022. So the interesting thing and the weird part about this whole thing is that the incident happened in July 2020. 2 years later, right before trial's about to start, Kelsey still says Tory did the shooting in September 2022. After that, she gets a lawyer. Her lawyer basically figures out, and they realize they're going to use her testimony. They get, or they start talking about immunity, but then she gets to the court, and then she actually testifies that she didn't really see who did the shooting. So her thing went from, I seen Tory do it, which this is why they play this interview, to, I don't remember, I ain't see who did the shooting. Interesting. This is like a month before trial. And she said Tory did it. So 2 years after the incident, she seemed like she got good memory. And then a month later in the trial, she don't got good memory no more.
Away from Megan, because in my head, I'm thinking he's over here gonna just attack.
So you got in the driver's seat of the car and moved it a little bit.
I made it jerk.
Okay.
I didn't even move it. I didn't even drive. I just made it jerk.
Okay.
And so when I did that, it did exactly what I needed it to do, get Tory away from Megan. And so he I don't know how he got to the vehicle. I don't know if he ran or walked, but he got to me really quick. And that's when he started pulling me by my hair. He was pulling me by my hair really hard. And again, I wasn't afraid for my life when the incident was going on with Megan. I was in the...
Y'all said that Tory handled me part was not part of the trial? I don't know.
Defense mode. But then I became afraid.
I think that Spiro bullshitting with text messages. Again, so Alex Spiro, who, by the way, again, I don't think nobody want no sauce as Alex Spiro after y'all see when he does to Tony Busby, but he seems to be the one who's putting out stuff on behalf of Meg and trying to be like, hey, listen, for anybody who got doubts about this trial, remember to consider these things. So after we play a little bit more of this, we're going to go back to they have an exhaustive list of what they claim that Meg, that prove that Tory was rightfully convicted. And then we're gonna play the new evidence. We haven't gotten to the new evidence yet.
For my life when he started pulling my hair in my neck because it was really, really hard. That's when the necklace.
When you said he pulled on your neck, what do you mean?
He was almost like, I didn't lose my breath, so I wouldn't say choking, but he was pulling my neck and my hair, and then so here comes Quan again, Quan he's in between us, but Tory has a good grip. He's not letting go. So it's kind of like tug of war at this point with my head and body, and I'm scared. And I kind of dumb myself down just to get him to let me go. And I said, Tory, what are we doing? What are we doing? And when I said that, he released. He let go. And so now Megan is standing. We're all standing at the front driver door.
Did you see how Megan got to the front driver door at all?
I can't tell. No, she just hopped, walked. I can't tell you, but she was there. She was standing at the front driver door. And
so Meg, who was shot supposedly, right? She went from crawling to now she back on her feet at the front driver door. That's what she's saying after, because I guess they start roughing her up, and this is her statement. But remember, incident 2020 in July. This interview, September 2022, right before trial.
Quan, they're just get in the car. We didn't have a pushback about getting in the car because we're in the middle of nowhere. At this point, we don't know what to do. Mm-hmm. We honestly didn't even think about calling 911 at this moment or anything. It was all a blur.
Now, did you have on long nails that night?
I did. My nails were broken off.
Now, keep in mind, despite Tory roughing her up, shooting Meg, they all get back in the car with Tory, according to this statement, right? So this statement says Tory shot Meg, beat me up, but they both get back in the car with Tory.
That was during your
with
fight
the
with Tory?
altercation with Tory,
Okay.
correct. So now we get in the vehicle. Quan gets back in the driver's side.
By the way, thank you for that. It says, that case is a headache. Meg and Kelsey should be in jail with Tory at this point because all three is guilty of wasting public time. That I could agree. I feel like this case is just, it's trying to figure out what happened at a very drunk night. Like, I really would only want to hear from the sober people, because I don't think none of these people know what happened, why things happen. This just seems like kind of stupid, right? Ice Spice Twerk, thank you for the 2, says, yo, could you talk about how Capricorn was Lauren London bestie? Is that true? I didn't know that. Young Money says, yo, that Kelsey message is edited and handling me was not part of the text that was shown at trial. Alex Spiro faking it. All right. Thanks for that. By the way, thank you guys for all the memberships. Yo, the Academy has, the Academy gets probably about half the views as King Akademiks, but got twice the amount of members. It's crazy. Ruger Red probably is responsible for a lot of that, but thank you to all you guys over there. Rondo23, thank you for the $2. He says, yo, I was blessed with a membership. W says, I've been watching for 11 years. All right, Atlanta Boy 88, thank you for the 5. Says, did they ever find blood? Yeah, we'll be into that already. Most Hated Goat, thank you for the 2. Says, Kelsey's message says 7:27 a.m. We answered that already. J Locks, thank you for the 5. It says, yo, Tory chose to protect this chick over being with his son. How the hell you chose a bitch over your son? Well, I don't think he thought he was going to be convicted. These rumors that Tory was planning, I heard Tory was planning a documentary. I heard there was documentary cameras following him into that court that last fateful day before he got taken into custody and the verdict was read. He was very confident that he was going to be let free, and yeah, he was moving accordingly. I don't. You could call it arrogant, pompous, or whatever, but yeah, he wasn't thinking he was going to get convicted, and I would think that he's not. Oh, I'm going to do jail and not see my kids for you. He thought he was doing the right thing, and he thought he still was going to be found not guilty, and he wasn't found not guilty. That's what it is. Hollow Dreams, thank you for the 5. He says, yo, when we get that popcorn interview. Oh, my God, chat. Yo, I fumbled on that popcorn interview. Yo, I was supposed to do the popcorn interview, but I had to stay in Jamaica for like 2 more days. I was supposed to do it, and I didn't do it, bro. I didn't do it because they were all in Kingston side, and I went back to Mobay side, that's Montego Bay, that, I could have a little bit of a vacation. Because remember, it was supposed to be a vacation, and I also was going to get the cartel interview. Yeah, but Popcorn wanted to do it, so I'm going to get it. Don't you worry. Shout out to Popcorn, man. Unruly. SO says, yo, he's in jail apologizing to Kelsey for getting drunk and hitting on another girl. When Kelsey apparently shot Meg, it makes no sense, What do you think it is then, SO? You give me your thing. Thank you, by the way. It's just she with the flowers. SO think he's definitely guilty. Low Life Braid says, yo, in the hospital with someone you shot is crazy. Jay Bree says, could you please get a DSLR camera and put a limiter, plug it on your browser source in OBS? All right, we could do that. I guess I could do some technical upgrades, right? Mike Sam, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. Ruger Red, thank you for all the gifted membership. Fruit Jams, I see you, says, do you hire clippers? I don't think we do. But we might be able to do some shit. Hit me up. Grand might have some shit for you. Okay? Ruger Red, man, thank you. You've been holding down this. Is Ruger Red a mod? I gave him mod, right? Okay, I gave him mod. Yeah, because I ain't gonna lie, bro. You've been holding down this channel so much, it's crazy. By the way, Nug, thank you for the 5. It says, I personally know Mysterious, Danity Kane, and Day 26. All from the Making a Band series. I can plug the call. Hit me up. Detroit Nug on the gram. Yeah, I feel like we got to hear from Aubrey O'Day right now, right? We should. She spoke recently. She said that she's not going to testify, but she did talk with investigators, which is interesting. Let me get over to the King Akademiks page real quick. We're kind of going through this. I know, chat, this is part of streaming. I used to do very short videos. I could have got through this topic in literally 5 to 7 minutes, give you all the important details. This is where I get you really up to speed on everything, so we nitpick. So if you wonder why do you stretch out a topic to an hour? Hey, we're gonna be hanging for a couple hours anyway. Why not, right? At least you get to know all the details more than just only the important details. Anyway, we don't need to keep listening to this. We could kind of go back to the list of things that people are saying, or at least Kelsey said, not Kelsey, sorry, Alex Spiro, I would imagine, submitted on behalf of Meg to say that the right decision was made, that Tory got convicted. And it says, here's the next thing. It says, Peterson tried to buy the silence through bribes, okay? It said that, at testimony, Peterson begged Pete and Harris to keep quiet. offering a bribe of $1 million. Pete's testimony, which is Meg, it says, so what is Tory saying to you? And the answer, this is Meg The Stallion saying, it says, I don't remember anything he was saying to me in that moment, but when we got into the car and we heard the police sirens, now he's saying, please don't say anything. I'll give you $1 million. I can't go to jail. I already got caught with a gun before. Don't tell on me. That's what Meg testified. And then also Kelsey, she testified. He said, when the prosecutor said, did he offer you $1 million so you wouldn't say anything about this case? She said he mentioned $1 million. Okay. Then the next thing is like, okay, so the first lie he initially claimed, said Peterson's story has evolved over the years. The first lie, Tory initially claimed that Pete was never shot and she stepped on glass. Second lie, at trial, Peterson's lawyer argued that Harris, not Peterson, was the shooter. And the third lie is that Peterson claimed that LAPD lost or misplaced the firearm, bullet, and fragments. Now, again, not to be a Tory defense squad member here, but just to be clear, in trying to get out of jail, it's not only about mentioning what one thing, right? Obviously, I think Tory's main thing is that I didn't do it. But if people won't easily listen to that, you're going to have to show otherwise that you got wrongly convicted or they used or misused evidence or the process was unfair. Doesn't mean that your story's changing. It just means that you're using legal tactics to get out of jail. So this whole thing about the first lie, saying that Pete was never shot. Well, here's the thing. A good defense attorney, and I know Tory himself did rap about this and third, but the bullet didn't go through the foot. That's very clear. The bullet fractured, and shrapnel then supposedly hit Meg. Now, here's the thing. For some people, they only believe being shot means a bullet that came out of a spent shell went through your foot or impacted with you directly, whether it's a graze or not. So, for example, if I'm in my studio and you're in my studio, you're right here. There's a thing there that holds up, like, you know, if people are like rapping, it holds up notes. It's like metal, right? If I shoot that, so I got a gun, you're right here next to me. I shoot that, the bullet ricochet or splinters, and it hits something, because I have some sound shit over there, and one of the wood chips that it hits fucking goes into your hand, and now you're bleeding. Did I shoot you? That's that's an important question that we're not talking about. Because the idea of Meg being shot, the bullet never, a bullet never impacted her foot directly. What appears and what I believe happened was she injured. And that's the thing. What do you call being shot? Now, in the eyes of the law, if you were injured by a bullet being fired, you were shot. Let me say that again. In the eyes of the law, if you were injured by a bullet being fired, you were shot. Now, what does it mean being shot in the eyes of the law? That means that the person who fired that shot is culpable of the damage, whether they hit you directly, whether it ricocheted 20 times and then splintered it and hit you, or it hit something else and it hit you. If a gunshot causes damage, it is seen that you were, the injuries based on the gunshot is basically like you got shot. Now, colloquially, we wouldn't say you got shot. We wouldn't say you got shot. Again, let me just say this one more time. I'm in the room here. You're right here. You're sitting right here on this little rug. I got a gun in my hand. I shoot over there. That's a metallic little paper holder thing. It ricochets off of there. It hits this like diffuser thing for sound diffuser. A wood chips off of there and flies and then hits you in the hand. Did I shoot you in the hand? I didn't shoot you in the hand. Colloquially. Now, if ballistics comes in and then they want to prove, they wouldn't say necessarily you got shot in the hand, but they would say that the injury you received was at the result of a bullet being fired. And that's the thing about even Tory rapping about how you get shot in your leg, but it don't hit no bones or tendons. We can't necessarily say Tory's wrong, in my opinion. Tory's right. She didn't get shot directly with the bullet. And yes, it's a little bit different than the situation I just made, because it's actual shrapnel from the bullet that actually appeared to have hit Meg. But regardless, the overall point is this. Colloquially, or if we're talking culturally, if the bullet didn't hit you, we're not going to say you got shot. By the law and how it's seen otherwise in terms of damages, whether legally, criminally, or even civilly, we're going to say if you got injury by the result of a bullet being fired, that gunshot wound or that gun or the person who fired that gun is liable for it, right? So that's like the little nuance thing there. So I don't think that's a lie necessarily, right? So at first, Tory did doubt that her injuries was because of a gun. Now, I don't believe Tory made that up. There was a LA Times story. LA Times, cut by glass. And I can't find the story now. But back in the day, and I remember posting it because they had said, and I think they probably just like, editor probably has changed it since then. There was a story that said his wounds was consistent, or a doctor believed his wounds was consistent with stepping on glass. Stepping on glass, Meg The Stallion. Let's see if we can find that. Okay. Now, here's the thing. Number one. What she told the police, right? This is New York Times. I'm quoting from that. People don't think I'm fabricating. She had told the police that she had stepped on glass. Supposedly, and LA Times ran the story, that when the first doctor at the ER or the hospital looked at her, they then said, it's consistent with the story you told the cops. Oh, your injuries is consistent with stepping on glass. Further examination of her foot and an x-ray of her foot found that there were bullet fragments in her foot. But the first person, or the first doctor, and also her herself on the scene said, we stepped on glass. So this is why this is a little bit dishonest. And again, we're trying to call it fair here, people. When it says the first lie claims she was never shot, she was stepped on broken glass. Well, according to the New York Times, it was reported that Meg The Stallion herself told the cops she stepped on glass. So if that was Tory's first lie, that was Meg's first lie as well. If Tory's first lie was claiming that Meg stepped on glass, but the first person who said she stepped on glass was Meg to the police, if it's Tory's first lie, it's Meg's first lie. Could we call a spade, or we can't do that today? Okay. Second lie. At trial, Peterson lawyers argue that Harris, not Peterson, was the shooter. Now, this is where the idea of lying, this becomes really ambiguous and it's actually interesting that Alex Spear is bringing this up because defense attorneys use these common tactics all the time. Yo, me and you. So me and you who's watching. Supposedly, we went to go rob a bank. One of us, fires a gun. Or let's not say we went to rob a bank because we both at that point agreed to go do a crime. Let's not say that. We're both chilling. Somebody observes an argument. Somebody argued either with one of us or both of us. Then somebody gets shot. They only pick up me for the shooting. They don't pick up you. A popular defense strategy is to say, well, if the only reason why you picked up Ak is because the eyewitness saw Ak, is Ak the only person the eyewitness seen? No, they saw two people. They saw me and you. A lawyer is going to say, well, why you ain't blaming on the other person? Didn't you have another eyewitness who said, Ak is 5'9"? It looks like the gunshot came from somebody that was 6'4". Ain't the other person 6'4"? Why are y'all blaming on Ak? Remember, in a trial, you're using these. It's not about lying. You see, this is why this is a little bit dishonest. Going to trial is not about the truth. It's about what you could prove. It ain't what you know. It's about what you could fucking prove. So, this idea that you're lying at trial, no, it's a defense strategy. All a defense team has to do is to get reasonable doubt, because the standard for a conviction is beyond a reasonable doubt. I just got to make it a little bit hazy for y'all. How you know that how you know the other nigga ain't do it? How you know that Ak was there that day? How you know Ak had a gun? How you know that you make up all type of stuff? This is how defense team work. It's not a lie. It's a strategy. So I think that's misleading as well. Let's go to the third lie, or they claim the third lie. We've debunked the first two. Peterson claimed the LAPD lost or misplaced the firearm and bullet fragments. Now, I'm not going to speak too much on this because that's really his lawyer's thing. From what I was told and from what I've seen, number one, in the appellate brief response, the opposition that came from the Attorney General of California, he claims that the bullet fragments, they're not lost, they're not misplaced, and that even the gun or whatever, the evidence is still maintained within the evidence, area for Los Angeles, and they actually say where and even give instructions on how the defense team could get it. Okay. Previously, Tory's team claimed that they tried to get it, but they were told it was lost. I can't vouch for that. I didn't make the request for them, but it would seem very irresponsible of Tory's team to say it was lost when they could have easily got it, as the DA said. Now the DA or the Attorney General, they're saying, oh, here it is. So that's a point I'm not going to argue because I'm not in Tory's case and I'm not one of his attorneys, and I never seen the correspondence that said it was lost. I heard Tory's team say it was lost, but I never seen the prosecutor or the Attorney General of California say it was lost. So that's a point is neither here nor there. By the way, this is a point that's being argued within an appeal. So these two things are pretty much like trial. This happened at the scene. This is at trial. I don't think you could. There's no line at trial. This is you're on the defense. This is you trying to muddy the waters to get off. The third is what's going to be determined at the appeal and what the ruling is. The ruling on both appeals should come now within the next couple of months. Okay. All right. Okay. Damn. I actually addressed all the lies without even going through their slideshow. My bad. Okay. Unsworn rumors spread fast. How many of these are there? Jesus Christ, I have a lot. Bradley James, allegedly a former bodyguard of Harris, claims overhearing Harris admitting to shooting the firearm. But James, hold on, let me make this a little bit bigger. Sorry. But James was not an eyewitness to the shooting. He was not present at the scene of the crime. James has never provided sworn testimony or been the subject of cross-examination. He's not publicly addressed these claims himself. Peterson teams merely alleges what he says. Now, that is going to change because there is an affidavit that has been put on record. Despite being cited as a key source, James failed to appear at the press conference to support these allegations. Yeah, he didn't show up at the press conference. I'll give you that. The next thing is sworn testimony supports Pete. It says, who is this? Nor King. Who's that? Former content moderator for blogger Milagro testified under oath. Peterson admitted to Cooper that Pete was shot when a gun went off during the struggle. Wait, one of Milagro's mods is telling? Oh, hell no. Yeah, Milagro, what's going on with your people? Yo, chat, if Grant ever snitch on us, I don't know. Screech is done. Screech is done, gang. Milagro, who the hell? You got one of your content moderators snitching on you? What's going on there? Peterson publicly claimed Pete merely stepped on glass. Fabrication subsequently amplified by social. Well, but she claimed that as well when she first talked to the police. According to the LA Times. Quiet Life Jones, thank you for the 10 says, shout out to Big Act. Been watching you since I was 20. 31 now with the whole family and 14 years in the military. I was watching you as we sent a missile at that. Ooh, what? Oh, let me see. I got to finish that content or that donation. Thank you, brother. Give me a second. Here we go. Oh, I was watching you while we sent a missile at that slimeball General Soleimani. Okay, all right. Thank you for watching, man. I appreciate you, especially salute to all my people in the armed forces. We value and we really appreciate the dedication and all the sacrifice and risk you guys take for our protection. Trust me, it never goes unnoticed, especially even by me. All right, cool. It says Peterson chose not to call a key witness. That's going to be about Jaquan. It says Peterson declined to call Jaquan Smith, the bodyguard and the driver, as a witness, although Smith was available in President Court. Smith spoke to the judge in the chambers. Smith's declaration came only after the trial. By the way, we read it. It's in the writ of habeas corpus appeal. Smith has never been subject to cross-examination. Okay. Then they said the ring footage. So Peterson's team has recently claimed they have obtained a ring footage that supposedly exonerates Peterson. That's not the truth. The ring audio is not new. It was admitted into evidence in the trial as exhibit number 12, and it was considered by the jury. Said Peterson could have testified, but he did not. Said Peterson had the opportunity to testify himself and tell his own side of the story. He did not. So these are also unsworn rumors versus sworn rumors. So unsworn rumors are Daystar Peterson, he never testified. Milagro Cooper, never testified. Bradley James, the security of whatever, what's his name, never testified. Well, even though there's an affidavit now, so affidavit is kind of like a sworn testimony. It's a, it's definitely something you got to stand by. Inconsistent with evidence, never testified, and did not swear on the penalty of perjury to tell the truth. Sworn testimonies, Meg and Pete. Dr. Lee, whatever. So this is the doctor who eventually tested Meg to say, yes, there's bullet fragments, right? Who's this? Detective Judy Little, Randall Zapata, this is a LAPD criminalist, firearm examiner, these other people. Okay, all right. So, by the way, this is Meg's team putting this out. Then Alex Spiro, he released a statement. Despite Mr. Lanez being convicted at trial by overwhelming evidence that included his own admission of guilt, he and his team, flanked by any ignorant person they could find, have pushed whatever misleading narrative they can. One by one, their misleading statements unraveled, and all that is left is a simple truth. He was convicted by overwhelming evidence, and those who seek to traumatize the victim of the crime should be called out as foolish bullies. Oh, wow. By the way, Michael Lucas, he says, yo, Tory's driver, after receiving the payoff, be like, good news, we got a payoff. Bad news, they gave you life. Oh, man. You think it was a payoff type of thing? All right. Let's keep it going. All right, so that's it. So now let's get to Tory's new evidence, right? The evidence in question that have came out in this case, let's go to Luna Tory. I forgot her name. Rep Luna. Remember, she did this interview. Let me play this shortly. And then we're going to get to her Twitter, which she has tweeted out a bunch of these things. What's her name again? Paulina Luna. Let me copy this. We're going to find it. Come on. Let's get the video up. They got to play this bullshit first. Y'all good? Nug, thank you for the 5. It's an for real, hit me up. Detroit Nug on the gram. I can sit you down with the mysterious. She lives in Jersey, too. She's now a bottle girl for Rick Rose. Okay. I'm going to have to set that up, right? Let's go. Here we go.
Why did you take such an interest in this case?
Specifically, how I got involved in this case is I actually am friends with Amber Rose, and she had flagged it for me. And when I actually spoke to the attorneys that are representing Mr. Lanez, they actually presented me with evidence. When I saw the evidence that was brought forward, we're talking about no forensics DNA on the magazine of the pistol, a 0.01 DNA match, which effectively means that he could not have been the shooter, to include there being ring footage that really refutes and dispels the testimony that, you know, he had basically said dance and then fired the firearm.
Dash, I ain't read your super chat. Where's the super chat? Let me see. Where's the super chat, Dash? I ain't see it. I ain't see it. Don't tell me you were trolling. I think you're trolling, Dash. Yeah, Dash is trolling.
In addition to that, they're also being missing ballistics fragments from the alleged, you know, shot in the foot, as well as medical x-rays. All of this does indeed show and prove that Mr. Lanez, unfortunately, is being incarcerated and he's an innocent man.
Is this the new evidence that you had tweeted about? This ring video, you said there's a ring video that will refute?
It was actually brought to my knowledge by the attorneys, and we actually had posted that on one of our X platforms, that there's allegedly ring video footage that refutes the statements and they, I would say, hearsay comments in court testimony.
Have you seen it, and is it going to be released?
I am actually actively pushing for the release of that, and there's also an affidavit that the attorneys have actually shown me already that actually came from, we will be presenting that and posting that publicly for everyone to see in the coming days.
If I was the appellate lawyer or the lawyer trying to secure a pardon for him or a new trial, and I had a video showing somebody else shot him, I would shot her. I would send that out immediately to the media to create this kind of firestorm to
then
release
you would get the
it.
governor's attention.
Why wouldn't
wait.
they immediately release a video if it shows? I mean, because that's the smoking gun, literally.
I don't know. Again, as I stated, I haven't seen the footage yet. But what I will say is that all of the information that's been brought forward and flagged to us is also going to be presented if it hasn't already been sent to the governor's office. And I would also say that it's incredibly important for people to realize that the body cam footage, which I'm sure you guys are aware of, has also reported, and the initial medical responding doctor at the ER with Miss Stallion actually reported lacerations, and also too, the bullet fragments are missing, meaning that they don't have evidence. When you have very wealthy people involved, the he said, she said, evidence goes missing. I mean, this is all something to me that indicates where there's smoke, there's fire, and this screams cover up. And so what I would say is that people need to be very careful about this, because if this can happen to someone like Tory, it can happen to you guys.
Okay. So then the rep post a thread of what seems to be, is supposed to be this exculpatory type evidence. Let me make this a little smaller. And she said, a day passed, and then she posted this. She said, breaking, this is a new sworn affidavit that has emerged from Kelsey Harris, former bodyguard. It shatters the original narrative used to convict Tory Lanez. According to the testimony, Kelsey fired the gun. Now, this is not testimony. It's sometimes looked at as testimony, but it's not testimony. Even though they do sign under, sworn affidavit under penalty of perjury. It's not testimony. It's an affidavit. According to the affidavit, Kelsey fired the gun, not Tory. Okay, so in the affidavit, the bodyguard says Kelsey Harris confessed to firing 3 shots in the air during an altercation. Tory then tried to de-escalate the situation by pushing her hand down, causing 2 more shots to fire accidentally. Here is the affidavit, and look like this affidavit, and this is look like it's the attorneys for the appellant Daystar Peterson. It is now going to be added to the writ of habeas corpus. There's another affidavit, and it says, my name is Bradley James. This is my address. Unfortunately, they doxed him. I'm sorry. I'm over the age of 18, fully competent. I have first-hand knowledge of the facts in question that took place on 2 days that Miss Harris testified, which was December 14th and 15th of 2022, which is the basis of the above cited proceedings. I work for Elite Security, okay, for approximately 2 years and longer than this for the owner of this company on various projects. Miss Kelsey Harris hired Elite Security to accompany her to court the day she was testifying. Now, let me stop there. At some point, this shit is about to start stinking, and I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why this shit is gonna start stinking at a point. Remember when Kelsey got on the stand? Kelsey got on the stand and couldn't remember. She couldn't remember who paid for her lawyer. A lot of people felt like her legal representation was not in her budget and also was probably paid for by somebody else. Now we get to find out she showed up with security. Now let me ask you a question. If she couldn't remember in the moment who paid for a lawyer, 2 years or 3 years removed, do you think she knows who paid for that lawyer? No, who paid for the security? Do we want to believe that she paid for both? Do we want to believe somebody else paid for both? But her own security is now coming out to say she did it. Whatever. I worked for Elite Security, Inc. approximately 2 years ago, and longer than that, for the owner of this company on various similar projects. Ms. Kelsey Harris hired Elite Security to accompany her to the court the 2 days she was testifying. This is the only time she's been a client. I've not worked. Okay, so that's important. The person's never worked for Daystar or for Megan. I heard these statements as we were in the car, getting a bite to eat after court. We went to a restaurant called Fixin's. Okay? Miss Harris and the father of her child were the only people in the car. She later also said similar statements to her attorney of record in front of the courthouse and in the cafeteria. She was nervous and speaking generally, asking questions. By the way, this cannot be admitted. This cannot be admitted. Now, actually could be admitted. Never mind. So when you talk to your lawyer, it's attorney-client privilege, and it's strictly barred from being involved in legal proceedings, a conversation you have with your lawyer. Now, here's the thing. If you allow a third party to be there, then you lose attorney-client privilege. So supposedly attorney-client privilege is literally only you and your lawyer. If you allow a girlfriend, if you allow your mama to be there, if you allow a security to be there, and your lawyer has these conversations with you, you're no longer protected by attorney-client privilege because of the person who's there. And usually most attorneys will tell you that. So attorney-client privilege only applies when it's you and your attorney alone. Okay? Okay. So, all right. So those statements might be admissible, right? They said they heard it with their attorney of record in front of the courthouse in the cafeteria. She was nervous. Her lawyer was telling her it would be okay and that she could plead a fifth. It was uncomfortable. Remember, the lawyer can't say nothing too. So it would just be unethical. Even if it's not attorney-client privilege, the lawyer can't say nothing. Still, right? Her lawyer was telling her it would be okay. I heard Miss Harris question, how can I not tell on myself? How am I protected if I tell certain things? The father of her child explained immunity of her to her. So she was married to somebody from 1501, or I think still is. Or not married, but that's the baby dad. And he explained immunity to her. And said, fixes, Miss Harris stated she shot the gun 3 times in the air. So she shot in the air 3 times. And Daystar ran up to her, grabbed her arm, pushing it down, causing the gun to fire twice more. He said, I've not said these statements until now, as I've heard rumors of the threats and that others have received from being involved in this case. Also, I did not want to lose my employment as I rely on such to care for my children. I was not trying to eavesdrop, but I could not help but overhear these statements. Generally, Elite Security does not follow confidentiality. Yet, we do not have... Generally, Elite Security does follow confidentiality. Yet, we do not have such an agreement on file, and I decided to come forward as this has been weighing on my conscience, and I've decided the right thing to do is to come forward with this information. Wow. The rep says this claim matches the Ring camera audio from the night of the incident. 3 shots, a pause, and 2 more shots. She says there's no dance, bitch, dance that's heard. There's no admission from Tory, only the sound of a chaotic moment that now aligns with the new sworn statement. Here's the ring camera footage. I'll let it play again. One more time. So, supposedly, 3 shots in the air. Tory comes over. 2 shots, but aimed at the ground. We don't hear any screams. We don't hear anything. By the way, this ring footage was indeed brought up during the trial. Contextualized as this was a ring footage inside somebody's house. The incident took place outside. It doesn't seem to capture any of the commotion in terms of arguing, but it does capture the gunshots, right? The rep says the original DNA report from the firearm, it showed that Tory Lanez was excluded as a match for the magazine and conclusive to the gun.
Not gonna lie, bro, a lot of people agree with the same thing. Meg The Stallion, like, I seen a meme, like, she fell off the bike, they put her face on there, and they said, Tory Lanez, it's your fault, why don't you leave me alone? Like, hey, Tory Lanez just got stabbed up. Tory Lanez is on, like, 10 HP right now. He needs a chug jug, gang. He needs a health kit. Like, Tory Lanez is down bad right now, gang. You keep talking about, Tory's not doing anything. Like, they said he got collapsed lungs and all this extra stuff. He's fighting for his life right now. Feel me? A lot of people love Tory Lanez. People don't really like you. This whole Rock Nation fiasco, you're a part of it. And you don't understand. Like, the dope cheese, the scissors, the Meg The Stallions, like, not really liked by a lot of people, gang. I'm not gonna lie. But hey, man, free Tory if he didn't do it. The evidence is all over the place. We don't know who did it. It's your boy Big Act News. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I'm out.